And
Yep. And we're live for the last time. Fuck.
man,
It's the last time I'm gonna hit that button.
man. Ugh. Hello, everyone.
Guys, I don't know if we're gonna make it through this.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's rough. It's very rough.
Feel free to ask questions, guys. I don't know if you guys see the Q&A box that you can
Yeah.
interact
Yeah.
with, but
Maybe even ask some questions you asked before that we ignored, because we can just burn it all down now. So what the hell? I forgot about that whole lockout thing.
there's been so many great moments. That's just live stream too. That wasn't even the podcast. I think the live streams, some of the greatest moments in live streams are better than the damn show.
Oh god, when Pam said I just got off, I'll never forget that.
Green Pam versus Orange Pam energy.
I'll never forget though. I just got off and Bob just turned into like actually Bob the tomato from Veggie Tales because he was laughing so hard.
Yeah, I remember there was that night.
We got Green Pam. That's good.
And the whole fireball thing.
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Maybe that wasn't live stream actually.
I think that might have been.
Then there was the night that James wakes up at 5 a.m. and yells at me to stop the stream. Meanwhile, I'm like, no, Mike and I are still recording the show.
He was so confused. He's like, why would I do that? And I'm like, because you guys are done. And he's like, we're not done. I'm like, Bob, the screen is... I'm like, first off, why would you be recording at 5 a.m.? But second, I'm literally looking at the stream right now and you guys are not on the stream. Stop trying to gaslight me. That's the one night where I want to like get a UMG strike and just play some like sad music.
All around me, your familiar face.
The only problem with that is then it won't be
All
saved for posterity.
Must pass. All
James's
things
mic
must
broke.
pass.
Oh my god! And I had no clue it broke. I just kept talking.
I know. And then you went back and got the GIF.
Stop! Stop the show! Stop the show!
Right.
James just like touched his mic and it just boom.
knocked off
I was
the entire
just
stand.
staring at it.
That's the best GIF I ever made.
That was a great GIF.
Oh wait, can I do this?
Can you add it into the YouTube GIF?
No, but I have an idea.
That is such a funny gif.
That work? There, I don't. Does that link
My
work?
reaction was great.
It does work.
It does, yeah.
Your reaction was great, James.
Nice.
That's what makes it so funny.
It's just so perfect, like a cartoon character. Almost.
Yes.
Like my eyes roll side to side. I'm like, what the fuck?
My favorite part is like he touches it and it just drops. It falls off, and then it does like another big drop after that.
Yeah, that's what I love about it too. It just like breaks
It
and
keeps
then
going.
What did Jill say that retracted the message?
I think she was I think she's deleting them. I was kind of curious too. I wasn't sure what was going
I'm
on
not
there.
deleting her messages. Where did
Not
she
me.
delete it? I don't even see where she deleted a
It
message.
says message retracted.
You don't see that, James?
Maybe it's because I'm the
The host of the channel.
host. I don't know. I don't see it now.
Oh, we probably are the only ones though that see that actually,
I'm sure.
because we're moderators. Hey, Steph.
When did Tipsy Timmy pay a visit? What is that a reference to?
Who
I
is
mean, isn't that often?
Yeah, I don't remember ever. Was I really? Unless I was like blackout drunk on the live stream somehow, but
I mean, anything's possible.
I guess.
Pam going off on people. She's never done that.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Line for White Lightning.
Oh my god. We've definitely had some good times here. Hey, Alex.
Good times, bad times. You know I've had my share. When the woman.
So by the way, guys, we're not gonna have a weekly poll tonight. We don't have to come up with one of those.
Yeah.
Shocker, I know.
That's like one good thing.
That's it's been a running joke, but this is the first time where we're actually not gonna have one.
We're actually
The weekly poll for next week is what should the weekly poll be? We could just leave that.
I can feel those evil eyes, Pam. All the way from Philly. Although that's probably the collective city. But
Those are middle fingers.
it wouldn't be a show without evil eyes from Pam. So just to brief you guys, the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna try to make the first half traditional first half. We'll see what happens. But then the second half is when we'll get into
The tears.
yeah, we'll try.
Tears for fears. Oh.
Truth is, we're just all really sad about Galactic Star Cruiser.
Yeah, that's really what's
I know. I was.
that's
Like
really
a
what's lingering in the
crack
back of my mind.
No, that's. I think I remember. Well, that's not far off from what happened a lot of times. From like, what are we gonna talk about the second half of the show, guys?
I think I've said that more. That's
midnight.
like I've said that more than like anything else in my life. Is what are we gonna talk about in the second half?
More than likely.
I think that's my most said phrase. What are we gonna talk about in the second half?
And how many times I said, "Okay, are we ready to
Right.
start?" And somebody else is like, "We don't have a weekly poll." Damn it!
Yeah.
We'll do it live.
Jill is just great with typing. She said, "What's why?"
That's why.
That's right up there with airtime mic chat
Yeah.
typing.
God. They're just so
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
It used to be me. way back in the day. James is writing out his blurbs about every news story.
Bob. Professional.
And for some reason he actually managed to come over to the dark side. Yeah, you probably do own that, Mike. I'd agree with that. But it's your trademark. It's how we know it's really you.
Exactly.
If Airtime Mike ever showed up and spelled everything correctly, we'd automatically call fraud.
fact. Oh, we never got Eltor Orion on the show.
Right. He said he would come on, but he said it would be a minute. He's
Yeah,
gonna
my
like
long-
message you. He's gonna message me in like a month or two and be like, "I'm ready."
Hey.
Oh man. Why is it?
What?
I just got the message got held for review.
What message?
I guess because she used asterisks. I don't understand why YouTube holds things for reviews.
Okay, we got some questions from Airtime Mike, Cam, and Cam actually. So, Mike said, "What was the favorite moment of live streams for each of you?"
Oh man, are we gonna do? Are we gonna do those on the show or?
What do you guys want to do?
Are they all like sentimental questions?
One of them's kind of goofy. One of Airtime Mike said, "How many shows have you done with no pants on?" It can be literally any questions if you want. Like, I'm just doing a Q&A in general. We've never done a Q&A. I've always wanted to do a Q&A, but
We did one.
yeah, we might have actually done one like a long time ago. I like the live Q&A
First
though.
question was whether I was married or not.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We did do that. That was a while ago. Yeah. The meaning of life
Really
is
long time
to
ago.
start a
God knows.
podcast and end it.
Bob knows the meaning of life. Thank you.
That's actually true. That-
Show us your t-shirts.
Bucky's, baby. I think I have the best one at Bucky's. Timmy
Look at that.
standing all the way up.
the happiest kid. That place sucks, according to
what?
KTLA.
I hate KTLA now. It's literally still my go-to LA news source, but I hate them.
I don't know how the hell they came up with that list.
How do they have Belmont Park over Disneyland?
Get mad, Timmy. I love it. I love it.
They had half the state above Disneyland.
Thank you. I got the Bucky's one, I think everyone said.
Should I go change into my sheet shirt?
That doesn't compete.
I don't know. I haven't been.
Why did my mom say nice boy?
Boy.
She said nice boy. So do we want to do so yeah, at this time guys, submit some questions to the Q&A and then we'll answer that. We'll do a show. We'll do it on the show maybe.
Jimmy gets the dub.
As a part of our show ending discussion, we'll talk about that.
You didn't buy me one, Pam. Actually, has any?
I don't think any of us have been there.
I don't think. Yeah, I need to make that trip.
Alex is just asking questions and
You guys some
it's got to be in the
Alex,
Q&A.
Push the button.
Yeah.
have Hall been listening. Hall like Hall and Oates.
I
I did not know that Daryl Hall performed at Kings Island 2 years ago.
Yeah, he's still active. Still does a show too. I think he lives in Cincinnati.
Doesn't he perform daily at Mystic Timbers?
Yeah.
He does. They play Maneater on the Fun TVs. Every time I go to the park, I always see them at the Fun TVs. Every single time, it's always Maneater on the freaking.
Wait, Fun TVs work?
I mean, I'm not saying they're on, but I'm saying their speakers work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You said
in New
C.
York.
The fun speakers.
Yeah, Mike knows how to embrace the mistake. That's almost like Mattel. Like that? No, you don't, Timmy.
That's pretty much what Pam just said. Yeah, there you go, Pam. She has to ask me if that's the correct
If it's your
spelling.
favorite band, shouldn't you like know how to spell it?
No, that'd be too easy. And she's a teacher, right? Yeah, buddy. Rock's the best.
I like Vinyl Rewind's a good one.
I like Lithium. I like 70s. Final Rewind's good too. I like Yacht Rock.
On Sirius XM, it's all about the 90s decades channel.
False.
That's actually the one I literally have it programmed on my so the bottom favorite is the Beatles channel, so it's like a home base for me. And then I just start tapping upwards from there. It's like the Beatles, then it goes 80s, 70s, 60s, and then it's like Vinyl Rewind, deep tracks,
Skillet.
and what?
Skillet Radio.
Yeah, and Jimmy Buffett Radio.
Skillet. I love Skillet.
You like Skillet, and you like what's that other Christian rock band that I know the name of them too, but
Mercy Me.
No. There's a couple. My favorite's Icon for Hire.
Icon for Hire. That's it.
But I also really like 1,000 Foot Crutch.
Yeah, Bob or Airtime Mike owns it here. He said 90s is some of the best music ever created.
Amen.
Amen. And Pam spelled Jalen's name completely incorrectly. This is just a great night.
She got the J right.
Yeah.
The first two
There's an
letters
A
are
and an L and an N in there somewhere. Ozzy's Boneyard. Good talk.
like,
That was
it's spelled like Jalen. Like that.
I wonder if we're gonna get a drive-by from Marcus.
Probably not.
he's outside my house actually. I know.
Oh my god, he's got a gun.
And then he's like, "Have a good episode, James."
Whoa.
While he's recording his show.
That's Alan submitted. He submitted in the questions. How do I submit a question?
Hey guys, is the stream still running?
Yes.
Listen to me asking them. 'Cause if it's not,
It's still running. I'm still watching it.
Yeah, I see
it is okay. I got a message. OBS Studio disconnected. I guess it
Studio,
reconnected.
not OBS itself.
Huh? What was that?
I said it was just the studio, not OBS.
Well, it is. Like, wait, what? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, your question submitted, Alex. Only come out at night, mean and hungry tight.
All right.
Seen it here before.
Much as I want to prolong this and make it last forever, should we start this?
Wait, we don't have a weekly poll.
Oh shit!
Let me test my audio.
Let me test my audio. Get the Ethernet cable.
Oh, I was having problems with my Ethernet cable actually earlier. It was not
Were
reaching
you?
my laptop. Yeah. I had to unplug it so I could pull my laptop out of its dock to see if
man.
Windows 11 could work for once.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good question. Will we actually have a black screen or a blue screen or a gray screen on Timmy?
Right.
What's the odds on that tonight?
I feel like it's not likely. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, all right, we're good. My
Whoa,
audio is good.
hi. Timmy, can Windows 11 take Audacity? We good?
We'll see. If not, I have an M2 Max MacBook now, so
Oh,
I
you got
traded
an
in.
M2.
Yeah, I traded in the M1 for the M2 Max chip. It is ridiculously powerful. The things that was like causing my M1 Max or my M1, just my normal M1 base chip, to start to like it would take like 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes to like do like this thing on Adobe Photoshop called super resolution, and it takes my M2 Mac 4 seconds,
Nice.
and it's got a 120 hertz display on it.
Wow.
That's chump change.
I just really refresh rate is
It's a podcast devoted to a Rocky stat. What?
Mine refresh rate's 120 hertz too. You like that, Timmy?
on your
What do
laptop
we
or
talk about?
my
Yeah,
monitor is.
the statue's still there.
Yeah, still there.
Yep, still there this week.
Oh my god, it changed. It's not Rocky anymore.
It's not Rocky. There's a crack in it. Like
He's been
Liberty Bell.
defaced for the 7th time this year.
Somebody climbed it even though he was greased.
Now there's a hobo sleeping underneath him.
Yep. Oh my god, the Eagles won and he has now been destroyed.
This week on the Rocky statue, he got sprayed with bullets.
Oh my god, somebody accessed
So-
a rocket launcher and is now pointing it at the
Somebody
Rocky
shot
statue.
Rocky. They interview people that travel to stand in line to take a photo with it. How do they
That
know?
That actually might not be bad.
It's more interesting to learn about the people though, not it's
Yeah,
not really
not
rocket
really.
related.
It's not really the statue.
It's more like a social
Yeah.
social podcast about specific cultures and backgrounds than probably than it is about Rocky. That just happens to be the pool of people they're pulling from.
But here's the thing. It might actually be decent because it would be people not from Philly.
Right. It has nothing to do with Philadelphia then.
What would be even more interesting is just go around an Eagles game and interview people.
They would never work.
Yeah.
They'd get beat up before they could complete it.
That's true.
I can feel Pam's evil eyes.
I feel them too. We're getting a double middle finger right now.
All right, we got a lot of questions now, so this is good. Keep the questions coming if you'd
Keep them
like.
coming. Keep them coming. Keep them flowing. It's gonna be the second half.
Yeah. The second well,
Um,
it's not gonna be entirely second half, but it'll be a good.
It'll
amount of
be
the
like
second
it'll be the first half of the second half.
half. And then our weekly poll for last week was which park has had the best 2023 edition. So feel free to, if you didn't respond in the comments.
Cam just said my dog is fat.
So random. It's awesome.
Dang, is this like ridicule your dog day or something? Like,
What the dog doing?
I know.
As-
My dog is dead. How is that? Isn't that crazy?
Pam has company. There's another. Alex getting held for review here. Well, shit, because we're getting burnt to the ground anyway. So
A weird method of measurement is that Bell was still alive and kicking and fine when the show started.
oh man, give me more to cry about. Yeah, but Alan actually at least embraces it. What? So, Alan, how long have you been listening? Have you gathered the whole the whole Philly thing is something we just harassed Pam? I mean, not completely.
I think Cam was
Just
trying to make
that,
us sad.
We talk about Philly literally because of Pam. I don't know if you've been listening long enough.
Philadelphia freedom. I hate you. I disdain you. Yes, I do.
Baxter.
Your cat belongs in a blender.
Oh my god, I just typed that.
Oh my god. No. That is amazing. God. Yeah, you can answer in the live chat. Just yes, that's fine, I suppose. It's gonna be trying to scroll back up and find that later. It's gonna be fun.
We'll allow it this one time.
I think
Next
you
week,
should.
no.
Hey, so I can. So I can search it, like put like weekly poll response in the actual field too, like your typing field. That way I can, when you submit the response, it'll. I can look, Alex.
Just answer twice. We'll call you something else.
This is Jimmy.
This is Zero G Coasters, and this is Alex.
No, Alex, you did not respond.
How dare you?
I just switched back to the podcast channel and the break the mic gif popped up and I just have to laugh. Like that, seriously, every time I look at that gif, I have to laugh. There's just no way around it. I just have to laugh.
You thought incorrectly, Tim. I mean, Alex.
Your thinking is flawed. Huh. Check out this post. This is just shocking. Went to Cedar Point yesterday. First time I've ever been there before summer. The amount of rides that went down was ridiculous. At one point, the only coasters open were Ruggaroo, Corkscrew, Mine Ride, and Iron Dragon. Wild Mouse never opened. Fucking hell, man. It's a fucking mouse.
Yeah.
Oh, Magnum closed at 11 and never reopened, and it took until about noon for Still Vengeance to even open. Even the bigger flat rides went down for extended times. It's a rough day at Cedar Point for sure, Mike. It's also
A normal day
a
at Cedar Point.
preseason day at Cedar Point anymore.
Remember when King's Dominion was like that? It was like you do not go to King's Dominion like opening weekend.
Oh, I still don't.
We don't have there's no opening weekend there anymore, so they're year round.
Timmy dropping some hints already.
Yeah.
Except it's not open yet.
Yeah.
Right. I was about to say we talked. It was supposed to be open attractions, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
Although I agree. I haven't wrote
Probably.
anything yet, but I think Zambezi Ziner. I can't talk, but
Zimba,
Zinga.
Zimba,
I think that really
bang, bang,
looks-
bing, bing,
really looks like a fun coaster.
Dude.
Batman. I'm Batman. Pam, literally who? Just kidding.
I mean,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hershey does keep stuff running despite what people say. I mean,
What
they
Bat-
do. They do.
Am I totally? What Batman ride is he talking about?
I have no idea what he's talking about. Actually, I was hoping he would eventually elaborate.
Yeah.
He redacted something and I was like, wait, I redact that.
Like did
I
Batman the
redacted
ride open
anyways.
this year or something? Did like a free spin open? One of those free spins or something?
I'm gonna ask Dwayne.
Dwayne. Dwayne can finally come on the show. I like how Alex just isn't responding now. He said Batman, and then he asked what Batman, and he's just
Oh.
not.
Gotham City Escape. Parkway Warner, Madrid. It opened on the 13th.
Yeah, but that's not the usual, Mom. When Cedar Point doesn't open anything. Wait, in Madrid?
What the fuck is this thing? It looks like isn't that Velocicoaster's top hat?
Oh, is that the Velocicoaster clone?
Is it? Did they make a clone? Is this officially a clone?
I think so. Where? I'm so confused. What ride are you looking at?
I put the link in the live chat.
Okay. Was this? I think this was the Velocicoaster clone. With 3 cars. Goofy.
It does look similar. I mean, from the pictures, it looks similar.
Maybe not. Maybe not. There was a clone though from Velocicoaster.
Well, this could definitely fit.
Yeah, I'm pretty. When you look on, yeah, I think it is. Can you read this? What are the stats?
It does look a little bit different in picture 18.
15. I don't know any element that's like that on Velocicoaster.
Say 15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh ee ooh ah. Wing bang.
Yeah, Cam. Stand-ups are cool again.
It's not a clone. I'm looking at the stats. Velocicoaster is 4,700. This one's only 3,300.
I should have just watched the POV, to be honest. It probably would have been quicker.
I thought there was a Velocicoaster
Give
clone.
me you and your
coming out.
logic. I don't see one. Well, there's not on RCDB anyway.
This one by Coaster Force.
Oh.
Yeah, this is not Velocicoaster.
Absolutely not.
I can tell by the very first second. It
The very
launches
first
into like a, it look,
I didn't see any dinosaurs.
It launches into an airtime hill into an inversion. And then it goes into the top hat. And it has a holding brake on the top hat. That's kind of cool.
That's interesting. I don't know if I'd like that or not, though. All right, guys. Should we do first half at least?
I'm just. How did we not hear about this coaster? Yeah, I'm a little.
I know. Honestly, I was like looking. I was like, how do I not know about this? And how does Alex know about it?
Alex is like out of the loop. He's like talked about how he's not really following coasters anymore that much. That's so weird. The spike is like the end of the ride. That's odd. He goes up a vertical spike to end the ride. And then that like uses that as like a braking mechanism, kind of. It's so fucking weird. All right. Intimate's weird.
All right. You guys ready?
Because we're dumb, Alex, and you're smart. Oh, airtime mic.
It was posted everywhere.
Everywhere.
Apparently not where I live.
Apparently all 3 of us can cross-reference anything.
I know, and we don't even like use the same platforms.
Yeah. He's on Bob's on Mastodon and Reddit, and I'm mainly Instagram, Twitter, and
What's Timmy do?
Timmy's on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Facebook and MySpace.
Yeah. And LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn. And TeamSpeak.
Somebody posted about this on LinkedIn. I can't believe I haven't seen it on LinkedIn.
Okay, are we ready? Oh man.
We don't have a second half, guys.
Oh man, I don't want to
All
do this.
right. All right. 3, 2.
I think it might be tradition. Oh my god, wow. Well, it's tradition that
Tradition for James to fuck it up the first.
my audio isn't working. I love that. A tradition.
Wow, I'm
What the
shocked.
hell? What the hell?
It's every single show.
Hello. Okay, now it's working. I don't
And he
understand.
always tests it too. That's the
I
best
did test
part.
it.
He always tests
Hi.
it.
It's still not working though. That's great. Hello, hello, hello. It literally was working, but I tested it. Oh my lord. Testing, testing, testing. There we go.
Actually, you know what? Before we start, I'm gonna go grab another drink.
No, we're starting now. God dang it.
Ready? 3, 2.
Nope. No. I'm only allowed to count down.
What's our counter downer?
I'll be right back.
Yeah, last week was really weird when James had to do it.
It felt so inorganic.
I know. Let's go. I just pulled a prime Aaron Judge in Tap Sports Baseball.
Bro, are you playing that game right now?
Yeah,
You're a freak.
I love Tap Sports Baseball.
We're recording our last episode ever, and Timmy's playing Tap Sports Baseball on his phone right now.
Yeah, I just pulled a player. There's a 30 out of 10,000 chance of getting him.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's so important, especially in the face of recording your last ever podcast episode.
This is why the podcast is ending, so Timmy can hide from the hitman.
Bob was getting a drink, was he not?
Okay. You're right. I should have started a Clash Royale game.
I can't open a box.
All right, you ready?
Right, yeah.
Is the audio gonna work this time?
Fingers crossed.
All right, 3, 2.
And we are back for episode 206. And this will be the final episode of Coaster Talk Podcast. I am James.
I'm Bob.
And I'm Timmy.
And it's May 28th, 2023, or later. This is when the episode will have been released. And yes, it is our farewell episode.
Yeah, and we're gonna try our best to get through this.
Right.
Hopefully we can at least get through the first half.
Yeah, without any blips. The first half should be pretty simple. It's our normal
Traditional.
routine.
Well, I
Right.
mean, it's every week it's been normal. We still screwed up, so.
Right.
Is there truly a normal with us? That is the question.
Well, that's actually
It's
also
the new normal. That's all I know. What I will say is, we're going to try to stay on course here for the first half, and the second half might be a little bit more of a tearjerker side of things. But for now, we're going to try to keep things pretty straightforward, pretty simple, pretty on par with what we normally do. So, we'll get into the.
Make sure you definitely
More
stick around for the
solemn.
second half, though.
Yeah, we'll stick around for the more solemn bits and pieces of the episode. Will be later
And
on.
some information, and what's going to happen, how to keep in touch.
Where do we
like
go
that.
for now? Yeah.
In fact, just skip the first half.
We'll be we'll be launching a website to make sure that Timmy has not been hit.
We're gonna launch a website that shows the status of Timmy's laptop. With Windows 11 if it's
I'm just gonna
running.
live stream my laptop.
It'll send Twitter notifications every time his laptop crashes.
That would cost
Oh,
way
you
too
could-
much money with how many times it crashes.
You could pray for Timmy. Thoughts and prayers with Timmy. Oh my lord. All right. Well, something that has actually been an ongoing joke with Timmy and I actually here on the show. It seems like every time we talked about this, or honestly, it's just when Bob was like missing an episode or two. Like I think we talked about Star Cruiser, like both times might have been with Bob was had an off day. But now we're finally to talk about it with all three of us, and it's actually due to its demise. It's actually going to close and make its final. They're calling it Voyage this September, the Galactic Star Cruiser hotel experience. And honestly, I mean, I know Bob, you said you were kind of surprised by this one. Based on what I was seeing in terms of reactions to I was seeing only net negative reactions to this from the larger portion of even like Disney fans and Star Wars fans.
Well,
But
it's
I
an
just
interesting thing though,
right.
because
It
I
is.
think a lot of the negative reviews are just because people couldn't afford it.
Right, and I think that is really the pitfall of this.
Which I absolutely agree with. However, the thing is the reviews of people that actually did it were phenomenal. There is probably a psychological thing there that when you spend that much money, you're going to pretend that it was great. If it wasn't. But I don't know.
Right, but what I was going to say is that even if it is this really great experience, the overpricing and the just extravagance of the hotel is really what I wasn't shocked to see that this was dissolving. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, $6,000 for a 2-day family package. That is absolutely like mind-boggling. Who the hell outside of the damn CEO can afford that? I mean,
that's only like what, $500 more than a typical trip to no.
At that point, you might as well.
I think the thing that shocked me about this is like I definitely completely agree with you on this thing. The thing that shocked me of it actually closing though is because if they were still booking, which as far as I know they were,
Right.
I mean, wouldn't they want to recoup more of that cost of building this attraction?
Well, there's that argument. There's also the argument that the amount that they put in wasn't a feasible outcome. Them recuperating any kind of cost, they might have been losing money. Even in the long term, they might have seen the forecasts that they were going to be losing money, and that this just
You think
wasn't
they were losing money by
feasible.
operating it?
Right.
Like, okay, that may be.
And what I was going to say is, you said you're shocked about it. What I'm shocked about is this this hotel doesn't actually take you into space. That's the price that you're paying. It should take you into space.
Virgin Galactic is about to do that.
Right. Like, I mean, this is what I thought this was the new SpaceX. Like, that should take you into space for that price. I'm sorry.
It really should actually.
It's ridiculous. So that is really, at the end of the day, the pitfall of this. It's just really, 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 it's highway robbery.
You could tell like things were not as positive for this attraction when they were like putting it on sale and stuff. Like
and I don't know, Bob. You said you heard positive reviews from people that actually went and did it. When I saw when we were all following it back, Timmy, remember the media day we watched when they did the media day? I heard a lot of negative reviews that it actually felt very cheap and kind of like really rushed of a project, and a lot of people were saying it actually was kind of not reaching the expectations that they thought.
Well, I definitely remember that in the beginning, but
maybe that plays into the whole thing. It was free for those individuals because they got a media experience.
Yeah. Well,
maybe
that
paying
actually
$6,000. You're like,
that's
you're
actually,
right.
That's actually a good. That's actually a good point. I mean, that's the thing is it's been widely reported that it is of all the attractions in Walt Disney World, it is the attraction with the highest reviews of any other attraction. So
even Tower of Terror.
I mean, not for me, but yeah. And maybe it is. Maybe it is just that self-affirming bias. Like, I can't admit that I was robbed, type of thing. I don't know. I still am kind of shocked to see it close so soon. I don't know. For me, it feels like they would try to keep it running a little bit more until people weren't booked. But maybe the cost of staffing was just higher than they were figuring. That could be. The one thing that I do disagree with, though, is a lot of people are calling this a complete failure. I don't know that that's. I mean, when you look at it from an attraction point of view, I can definitely see that argument. But I think the thing about this is they've they used this to test different things. So I think that this was an investment in stuff that's going to be seen in upcoming attractions.
Okay.
So in that light, I don't think you can say, oh, this was a complete failure, because from the beginning they may have looked at this as like as a money pit.
Like as an
More-
unprecedented technology kind of.
Right, just as an R&D cost
Exploration.
rather
Right,
than
yeah.
building an attraction type thing. So if you look at it from that light, I don't think it is a failure. So that's why, like, I kind of like, I don't want to say this whole thing was just a complete failure, because it's highly possible that they built this to be a failure as an attraction, you know, and they'll take the feedback from it and move it forward. I mean, you know, Imagineering has its shortfalls now and stuff like that, but they're not complete idiots. They definitely are, you know, higher up on the echelon of like completing stuff. And I think that they kind of had expectations that things could go this way, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
from an attraction point of view, yes, I agree with you.
It was a flop. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I want to add on to this is that I've heard rumors that like Bob Iger was doing a tour of it, and they were trying to figure out what they want to do with it, and they were gonna just try to make it like like people can just tour it during the day and like go in and like you know like go and like just look around and stuff.
Like a
and-
walkthrough.
yeah.
Okay.
He said absolutely not.
He said
said
unless we're charging him
That's interesting.
$6,000, we cannot.
Yeah, he
let
shut
them in
that
this
down real
building.
quick from what I heard. But on the bright side, I have heard that it might be turning into a Spirit Halloween.
No, it's gonna be a Baby R Us.
Babies are us.
Why
What
do
is
those still
bad
pop
news
up
for
every-
you about that?
Toys R Us? No, I don't know. There's still a Babies R Us out in Richmond somewhere. I'm pretty sure.
Seriously?
But it
I
like
thought the
pops
whole-
up sporadically. I thought like
Pops. It's a pop up.
it is. It's literally like a Spirit Halloween. Like sometimes it's there, sometimes it's
caught
not.
the name. They were just like, "Look, we're gonna do this cool thing."
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but in Richmond, at least maybe not in recently, but in the past like 10 years, I'm telling you, I would like drive out an area of Richmond called Short Pump, and there would be a Babies R Us all of a sudden. I'm like, I don't recall there. I don't recall the I thought the company went out of business. Like,
There's a babiesrs.toysrus.com, and you click on it. It says, "Warning: potential security risk ahead."
that's funny. That is funny. All right, well,
Oh wait, reimagining a new Babies R Us experience.
oh no.
Is
It's
this
Spirit
real?
Halloween.
It's owned by Spirit Halloween. I don't know. There is a Babies R it's toysrus.com. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe it is. I
So
don't
is
know. This
Galactic
is
Star Cruiser turning into a Babies R Us? Yes or no?
I mean, I'm all for it.
I mean, this is classic
It's,
coaster talk
it's
here.
gonna be a seasonal Babies R Us. All right, so yeah, Disney had a flop with that, and Florida having a flop with Disney here, where there was an initial $1 billion investment project that apparently was going to include a brand new office complex and a relocation of a few divisions from the California parks over to Florida, and that has now been canceled as a result of the ongoing feud and drama with DeSantis. So
Yeah,
that kind
this
of
is-
ongoing battle has led Disney to cancel the entire project.
This does not shock me at all, and I expect more of this to happen. In fact,
Yeah, I
I wouldn't be
agree.
surprised if they start moving stuff from Florida to California.
In fact,
Right,
it did not, according to Ron DeSantis, it did not shock him either because he said Disney is a failing company and they don't have the money to move Imagineering to Florida, according to Ron DeSantis. So
He's-
It was a cop out. That's what he's trying to say.
There's not, there isn't even like, there's nothing you can even really even say to that. Like, it's stupidity is at face value. You don't even have to add anything to it.
Yeah, right. Disney, a company with a market cap of like $200 billion. They're a family company, right?
I don't know why Disney just doesn't buy Florida.
that would be hilarious.
They're now they're not a self-governing entity anymore. They govern the state of Florida.
They are Florida.
They are Florida. Oh my gosh, that'd be great. All right. So no, that we can brisk past that a little bit. But in other Florida news, the NAACP is warning travelers from going to Florida, telling them to avoid the state.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this a few episodes ago, where I was talking about, like, I think that what DeSantis is doing could actually risk tourism.
Right.
I know you kind of disagreed with me to a point, but even I'm shocked that it's happening this soon, that stuff like this is happening. Because this is the kind of stuff that the State Department does for like countries that are hostile.
Yeah.
You could kind of say that Florida is being compared to Saudi Arabia and stuff. Like, that's literally what's happening here. And I don't think that it's all wrong. I think that's actually a fair comparison. It's ridiculous and unreal, but I mean, it is what it is.
It's also interesting because it's like the touristy areas of Florida aren't really the problem. So that's really what this calls into question, because I know like the mayors of Tampa and St. Petersburg, I think in this article even, are saying, the mayor of Tampa said that will never change regardless of what happens in Tallahassee in regards to everyone is always welcome and will be treated with dignity and respect in Tampa and in St. Petersburg. So both mayors of those cities kind of echoed each other, saying that. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like Tampa, St. Petersburg, Orlando, Miami, like all those cities are they're still relatively fine.
Miami might not be, though. Miami might be the exception to that list.
Maybe not.
Not completely. There's just some other weird stuff going on there.
Right, yeah.
Like what was it? Was it Dade County for the first time actually went red in the last election cycle, local elections, I think.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not sure.
There's some weird thing where there's like a whole bunch of people in Miami that are suddenly backing DeSantis, which is it's kind of confusing. I don't really fully understand what's going on there. But yes, I completely agree with you. And it's kind of one of those things where it's tough. It's like, how do you support Orlando without supporting Florida? This is a very
Intricate situation.
problematic situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, the state government does trump, like, I don't know. Like, if you get to those I think right now that, like, a lot of the thing is like the transgender stuff, where like some of the laws that have passed can actually give some risk to transgender individuals. And I don't know that Orlando and Tampa can necessarily protect you from that in all cases, which is why I think that this is a pretty relevant warning.
Right.
You know, this isn't a don't travel to Florida thing, but I think it's more of a, hey, people should be taking this more seriously and understand that some of the things going on might be risky to some people. I'm still like, I don't know. I'm still in shock that, like, it's going this far. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's getting pretty tense there. So, I would normally say, well, we'll keep you up to date with that news, but you'll have to follow that one. You have to follow that one on yourself. Yeah. All right. Well, now moving on to a little bit more of a less problematic park, but still has its.
Not problematic yet.
Yeah. Well, in the context of things, it is less problematic. But
yes.
Right. This is a new development from Cedar Point, debating the new Funway Arcade this Memorial Day weekend. So actually, this past weekend, from when the podcast released, the new Funway Arcade will have made its debut.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. It'll probably come to Memorial Day on Monday, and they'll be like, actually, we haven't finished it yet, and we're going to move it down the line, and we'll get back to you later. But that's
Yeah,
that's
I
that's
think
in, that's in reference to another story that we're going to talk about in a bit.
they're not Cedar Fair's not renewing a lot of contracts. So this is the
Yeah.
Johnny Rockets building.
Yeah.
Right.
They did not renew that contract. They also didn't renew Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, a lot of those like licensing agreements they've
Yeah.
had.
They're definitely. It seems like they're definitely really pushing to go more internal, which I'm fine with as long as they keep the food quality up, like
Right,
King's
yeah.
Dominion's been.
I'm cool with proprietary food locations as long as it's still decent food.
Right.
Yeah.
Firehouse BBQ.
And they're not
looks
half-assing
amazing.
it.
Yeah, they need some BBQ.
Yeah. Right. That's what we need from Cedar Point, to be honest. I don't know why they're doing with this arcade, but we need some BBQ.
Why don't you get started? Instruct all your employees to say, "Welcome to the BBQ restaurant."
Yep, I'm gonna brainwash the whole population, and
The only place on earth where we say BBQ.
that'll be our staple. That'll be what draws people in. The people that have felt ostracized from society for saying it for so long are like, finally, I have a place.
All three of them.
Wait, you're acknowledging that there's more than one, so that's all I needed. There we go.
Well, one thing about this arcade though, real quick, is kind of cool. Is that it was gonna have a mirror, one of those mirror mazes, and
that
which
is
is kinda
so cool.
unique. I think it's
It's so
unique.
novel.
I mean, that's literally what this what this arcade's pretty much got to be.
Yes.
There's going to be some games, but it's all about the mirror maze, apparently. Well,
Right.
at
We
least this
haven't
one
had
is.
those
I
at
like
every single state and county fair since
Well, it's what
1943.
they're going for like a classic like boardwalk thing there attraction.
Well, then put a damn pinball machine in it,
Yeah. Come on, man.
which apparently is not going to happen.
Everyone's so upset by that.
I am.
I know.
Everyone's in unison with Bob here.
Hey, you guys are too. I want to hear it.
Right. Yeah, us three, just like the BBQ restaurant. All right. Well, really good news out of Hershey. This is exciting. Wildcats Revenge is going to open June 2nd.
And interesting fact, Hershey does have pinball machines.
They do.
And I see people play them actually quite frequently.
Oh, I've played the Star Wars machine there, and then I had to run to the bathroom in the middle of the game.
I hate when that happens.
Right, but this is just around the corner. It's great to see that this ride and this attraction's ready to go, and I'm excited to get rider reactions here soon. I'm planning hopefully on getting up there soon for it, but that's tentative.
I don't recommend going on June 2nd.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, you won't catch me anywhere near that ride on June 2nd, but maybe later in June or
Unfortunately,
July.
we'll be riding a
Good trip.
different roller coaster that day.
Yeah, probably a better one, to be honest. We'll see.
We'll see.
though.
We'll see. I can't make
I'll
any
be-
statements, but
I'll be getting ready to go to Orlando.
Oh,
It's LJ's turn to go
Nice.
to Universal. I'm excited.
that is fun. That's
That's how I'm going to get over the loss of the podcast. It's like, I get to go to Universal. Yay!
yeah.
maybe I'm coming back to
After
Universal.
Universal,
It's
I
gonna
don't
be really
know. Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention about Hershey Park, though, and I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Do you think that maybe Hershey bit off more than they are going to be able to chew this year by adding an RMC?
I'm not sure. I don't know. In what regard do you mean that?
Well, I'm kind of torn. So I've never been like, some people are pretty rough on Hershey about operations.
Yeah.
And I don't think that I've ever. Usually when I go, there's like one ride that has bad ops, but the rest are usually pretty good. But that being said, I recognize that Hershey has always kind of been on the line where they're just handling the crowds well. And there's a big part of me that's kind of worried that this RMC is going to drive so much traffic to the park that it might actually push them over handling. Like I'm not worried necessarily that the ops on Wildcats Revenge are going to be bad or that it's going to destroy things individually. I kind of have this
Crowds
feeling
gonna
like
draw.
collectively, yeah.
Yeah, it might affect crowd control. Right.
You'd like that whole where the path drops down into the hollow. Oh my God.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
because RMC is so
I don't
awesome, right? So it draws more crowds than the Intamin's
Well,
ever will have.
I mean that's literally what I'm saying. Actually, like it is. It's gonna draw people in, and I'm afraid that it. I don't. I think they're gonna get through it. I don't think it's gonna be like Worlds of Fun or Worlds of Adventure bad.
Those are fun.
We'll talk about them in a little bit.
Their rides. I don't know what you're talking
That meant
about.
is Worlds of Adventure bad. Like it's not going to be that. It's. I think people are going to go and still have an okay experience, but I just kind of worry. I don't know.
What I was going to comment is I don't really think that Hershey's ops are too abhorrent. So I don't think this is going to be too strenuous of a situation for them. But that's just
I think that's the thing is I'm not worried about ops. What worries me most is the fact that Hershey doesn't have any real entertainment.
Yeah.
And like so most parks have like
they have their seal show, right? Don't they?
Yeah, I think that I think that's the only thing they have. I can't think of any other shows that they actually have. So the problem is like most parks have those things that kind of consume some people. Hershey doesn't.
Yeah.
It's really all shops and rides. There's no like,
there's no cannibalism.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's how I'm going to refer to
That's
shows.
why Lagoon is the greatest park in history of amusement parks because it has cannibal.
So you know how you combat this, right? Is you open the haunt mazes.
For spring
Yeah.
Fear Fest, yeah.
You mean
Spring
those
break
things,
Fear Fest.
the pathways?
Yeah.
That would be good. Drive more traffic. Excellent. Perfect.
I don't know. I think with their new entrance plaza too, they really incorporate a lot like at the front too. So like there's kind of like that strategy in combating this and that synergy in combating it. Because it's like now you have so much at the front. Because it used to be like you had to get to the back to kind of do things. At that time, I would have said Wildcats Revenge might cause some kind of conflict there with.
I think I'm thinking more of like the length of waits on lines. It's not going to be an ops issue. I'm kind of worried that the lines are just going to be long across the park because there's just nowhere for people to go.
Maybe.
I think that's
we'll
what
see.
my bigger. I don't know.
I think it'll have to gauge based on. It might just be. I mean, maybe Wildcats Revenge. I think might be like that essential point where that's where everyone's going. The other rides might actually benefit from this, possibly. I don't know. We'll see then.
That's actually a different way to look. I mean, that's a valid way to look at it.
So yeah, Wildcats Revenge might be chaotic, but we'll see with maybe Skyrush will and Candemonium will receive some sort of benefactor, be the benefactors of this actually. Right. Okay. Well, let's talk about now this absolute awful,
this cluster,
this dreadful, situation here. So.
Kitty's Revenge.
I don't know.
Mike in the chat just called it Kitty's Revenge. I've not heard anybody say that, but that's awesome.
That's funny. That is funny. Pussy's Revenge. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Oh man, I don't even know how to convey this information. So the day before Zambezi Zinger was supposed to open, right? It was the day before. It wasn't just the weekend before. It was like actually the night before.
It was within 24 hours, I believe.
Within 24 hours of the ride's opening, Worlds of Fun comes out and says that Zambezi Zinger is almost ready to open, but will not be opening this weekend.
But James, it's okay. They're looking forward to announcing a new date.
Right. That is just awful PR. I mean, and marketing. I mean, terrible communication to your guests. I don't know. That's just awful. I mean, even if, I've seen people on Twitter going like, well, it might have been some like really extenuating circumstances that arose that day. But even if that's the case, like,
well, they're saying it's supply chain issues.
Right. So that should have been communicated long ago. They should have known that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like what
the logistics involved in that?
Like, were you literally expecting the part to arrive? It's kind of funny because I literally, before we started this show, like I literally was talking about how I needed to install a part yesterday and FedEx dropped the ball. And now if you're opening an attraction for the first time, like, are you really expecting like to get the part the day before and hope that all goes well?
You're right. And if you are, why are you working in an industry like this? If that's your expectation,
Some people have been saying that it's been testing without its zero car.
Yeah, I did see that, but that was a while ago. I thought it was about a month ago. I saw.
No,
those
apparently it
videos.
still is. Like the
man.
test runs are still running without the zero
Oh man,
car.
that's bad.
So I mean, maybe that's the case. Maybe the zero car was supposed to show up weeks ago. But like at some point you should say, you know what, we probably should announce, or at least say, hey, we're not sure just yet. We might
Right.
get it open on this day, but we might not.
If you're missing something that's that imperative to the ride's operability, and it is even a week or two before the announced date of the ride opening, you should 100% rejoin to whatever it is you said and redact that and say, hey, even I would just say push it back, because even if you do get the part and get it working, it's better to have people have the expectation that, oh, it's not opening until June 1st or whatever, as opposed to everyone having this expectation that it's going to open the 25th or whatever, and it doesn't, right? Like, I'd rather you push it back, and I'm let down 2 or 3 weeks in advance than be let down the day of, right?
The thing is I actually was talking a little bit. Every now and then I pop into the Drunk Riders Discord and chat over there. I guess it's the Buzz Bars Discord now, technically. But I saw there are a lot of people talking in there that they literally, like, Worlds of Fun basically reaffirmed that it's opening, and there's an Ace event this weekend, I guess. And like, so there were actually a bunch of people in the channel that actually changed flights, like actually paid money to change a flight
that as well on Twitter,
so that they could be there literally like the day before they announce the day before that it's going to open. Like it's just
just a communication nightmare.
Yeah, I mean I fully recognize that stuff happens. Like, something could have come out of nowhere. I understand that. But when they're saying supply chain issues and like there's like, I don't know, it's like things line up that like this really sounds like this is something you should have been expecting.
Right. Extenuating circumstances to me is something that they would have communicated, like, hey, the ride burned down. or like
exactly. Like Todd Joseph dropped in for a visit.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Like, that's what I'm expecting to hear. Not, hey, the zero car is missing. Something that we had prior knowledge of not being at our site is still not at our site. Like, if that's the case, then you should have told us that. I mean, and if it, I don't know, there should have been, if it is really something that is that extenuating and is that abrupt of a change, then it should have been like, hey guys, this really bad, huge calamity happened, and we're not sure how we can proceed, so we're going to have to reschedule. Like, that's what I'm expecting then. Not just like, oh, it's almost ready, but we kind of fucked up and it's not actually ready. Like,
yeah,
that's kind of what they're giving us. And it's just not satisfying. It's not satisfying, that like kind of quest for knowledge for me, and I just don't feel like it's 100% accurate and truthful and authentic. But
well, this is the thing too, is like the first riders, I think, were, I don't know that they had any, like they actually won an auction to be the first rider. They spent money and they're like, okay, everything's still on. Like, you're definitely booking your flights for that.
Right.
I mean, like, I don't know. This is just kind of interesting. I'm actually trying to find the they need to make sure the ride is 100%. They're not going to open it when it's 99.9%.
It's missing one little theming element over in the corner of the second switchbacks, and they can't open the ride now.
The park staff have been continuously testing the coaster without people on it for the past few weeks, and the ride will be ready to open after the missing component is installed.
So again, the missing component.
Right. I mean, it's running.
Yeah.
When asked, he said he couldn't elaborate further on what the missing component is, but that the delay is not because of a mechanical or safety issue.
So then people could ride it.
What the hell is it? Like, seriously, like what?
It's a wheel.
Oh wait, no.
Like somebody forgot to order the test seat, or like,
Yeah.
like what the hell?
the front sign, the sign at the front of the ride isn't up yet.
You forgot to build the queue, or like
we forgot to install the trash can for the dirty diapers when people have marathoned it too much. Right, I don't know. Well, a little bit more of a earnest, solemn story here is from Waldemir.
This is
Um,
heartbreaking.
Yeah. The owner, Paul Nelson, has passed away. He was 89 years old, and he had worked at the park since 1945.
Did you say Waldemir? Did Discord just screw up the audio, or did you forget to say Waldemir?
I said Waldemir.
Okay, you literally said the owner Paul Nielsen. Like I was like, you might want to say okay.
The owner of the world.
It was Discord's fault. I'm good with
The
that.
owner of the world, Paul
the
Nielsen.
owner,
Discord
the
messes
owner of
up?
every amusement park.
Right. So this doesn't affect so far the operation of the park. The Waldemir came out and said that Waldemir will continue to be family owned and operated. The son-in-law remains president and general manager and will continue to operate the park. So, as far as management goes, that's still intact fully. So that's great.
The park is in
but
good
it's sad.
hands.
Yeah, the park's in good
definitely
hands.
Good hands. I'm not worried about the park.
Yeah.
But the impact that Paul had is, I mean, he is the one that fought Ford. What was it? It was over a decade to get Ravine Flyer 2.
Right.
And that's something I'm not going to go into it now, but if you really want an interesting story, read about the history of Ravine Flyer 2. Because that was supposed to happen like a decade before it did. And it was actually supposed to be a CCI, I believe. And that things just kept getting in the way,
And that, in one specific instance, red tape actually helped us, though.
Yes, yeah, that is
Right.
the absolute truth there. Yeah, I'm so glad that. I mean,
That's not a CCI.
No, I mean, I would have been happy with a CCI, but Gravity Group's just, oh
right.
my God, they knocked it out of the park.
Right.
But
that is a compelling story, though.
I think the thing that really heartbreaks, or that really gives me extra heartbreak, is the fact that he was really, really involved in the new slide complex that they're opening. Like that was a project he was really pushing for, and it's kind of sad that he's not gonna get to see it open.
Right.
That's kind of like, to me, that's the thing that really breaks my heart, is like, I wish he would have at least, got to see it.
And one of the interesting facets of his legacy include, and this is from the article, he actually was one of the only current parks. He provided one of the only current parks with a no park admission fee. So, I mean, in this industry, that is kind of unprecedented.
I mean, I think it's just them and Knoebels, isn't it?
Right.
I don't know of any others that are. I mean, I guess technically Lakemont, but I don't know if that you really.
Right. Yeah, that's semantics. Yeah.
If you consider it an amusement park, there's another one. I don't know if I think Del Grosse's has admission.
Yeah, I think they do.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, like that, and that's kind of that's one of the things, is like he really wanted it to be affordable to people, and I think that's I don't know. I kind of always come from that stance. Like, I have a lot of respect for people that make sure that this doesn't become a classist thing. It just frustrates me when, like, the answer to crowds is raise the price. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you have to, but like, yeah. I don't know. That's kind of an interesting thing. I mean, like cost increase. Like, I get it. Like the price has to go, but like,
right.
Somebody having.
Some people call it disflation.
Some intelligent people.
That's what Universal's going through right now.
Right.
But yeah, this definitely, like, this is the loss of a legend. It really.
Right.
He started working at the park in 1945.
Yeah, at age 11. Yeah, man. Whew. What a legacy.
Years before
He's left quite a legacy behind.
Born.
Bob actually knew him pretty well when he was a
Yeah,
kid.
they were.
All right.
Bob was the one who decided to make it a gravity group.
He said, Paul, listen here. You know all the knowledge I have and wisdom from being a few decades older than you. Listen to me now. Take my advice. Gravity Group is the way to go. Oh,
This
man.
is this is
I
this
was
is
with
why
the
the
Wing Coaster's inception, and I'm telling you, no one's done it better than Gravity Group.
Ever
See,
since they've been ahead of the game since the Russian mountains.
Since Scenic Railway.
this is the real reason why they decided the podcast is ending because they're about to put me in a home.
He said, "All right, Bob, take your meds now and go to bed."
It's the Cedar Point dorms.
Oh
I'm gonna
man,
be the oldest person to get raped.
we're moving Bob to Florida too,
Oh God.
to Tallahassee, right next to the Capitol. Oh man. um, all right. Our next story is really interesting. Very different. Very a very alluring story here. Gerstlauer is has unveiled a new model that they're going to produce, and it's
This
the
isn't
new.
actually that new, is it? Because we talked about this.
Yeah, we
like,
did.
a year or two
But
ago.
I don't know what the tweet was specifically referencing, but they've gone in. They've said they've gone inverted. They gave us an animation, like a schematic of the ride, an animated schematic, and it looks interesting. I mean, it really just looks like kind of like the new Vekoma inverted rides and the SNS inverted rides.
I think the thing that's
it
weird
looks
about
like-
this.
It looks
What's
like
interesting is
Merlin's
it's-
Mayhem trains on Intamin track.
But the interesting thing to me is that I don't know if they're just doing this for, like pragmatic, practical purposes. They just wanted to show the mechanism up close, so they just zoomed in on the two. Is it actually going to be only 2 rows? I mean, is that is that what they're looking at doing? That's what I'm interested in, to be honest with this.
That's actually
And
a good point.
And then my other question is, if you look at the picture, it looks like the trains, like the actual cars, like are they swinging back and forth like a suspended coaster, or is that just like?
Or is that
because
like
the-
articulation from?
No,
like,
it
the different-
definitely does because you can actually see in the front row the springs are expanded.
extend-
Yeah, they are. They are the
In the
springs
rear,
are-
they're not. I mean, technically, the Vekoma family suspendeds do that.
Yeah, but it's I
Not
don't
the
know if it's
SNS
as
though. It's weird. It's kind of
Is it-
interesting.
is it as defined as that? Is it as like sonient as that? Or like I don't feel like
I don't know. I haven't wrote it.
you haven't written any of the Vekoma?
Oh wait. Oh, huh? No, I haven't wrote the Gerstlauer.
Right. No, I'm saying you said you said technically the Vekoma ones do.
Yeah, actually,
But-
Freedom
but-
Flyer actually swings a lot.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever recognized that, and neither with Dragonfly or Dollywood, I haven't really.
Well,
Noticed
yeah,
that
on
either, recognized it.
Dragonflyer, I didn't notice as much. Like I could see that the mechanism was there, but I really didn't notice Dragonflyer swinging. But Freedom Flyer, I actually did, and I actually really noticed it when my niece and I went down not too long ago. We stopped by. We just literally just rode White Lightning and Freedom Flyer, and yeah, I noticed it. It actually swings quite a bit.
Okay.
Whereas like the SNS ones they're fixed in place. So like Merlin's Mayhem, I don't even think there's a mechanism at all. Like it's a solid connection point.
All right, well, I've never processed that or acknowledged that before. I'll have
I
to
haven't either.
check it out next time we're down there.
It's almost the way it's articulating though, almost like it's like pretty like substantial. Like
Yeah, that's
almost
what I'm saying
like
too.
a-
Yeah.
like
it
a
really
aero
does look like a suspended
kind
coaster.
of.
But also, does that play into this is an animation, and they wanted to define that a little bit
Right.
more because
Well,
it's
I will say this: Freedom Flyer. When I wrote it, I noticed a point, and I think it was right before we went into the Helix, but I'm not completely sure on that. But I definitely remember there was a point where the articulation was definitely to that point.
Okay.
It was not the whole ride, but there was one point in particular that I remember going, holy shit, this really does articulate. Like this really is capable of articulating a lot.
that's
And I was kind of shocked because I don't think I really noticed it when we went down for spring break before, and I wrote it but it may have been that I just, it was first ride, I wasn't really paying attention to it. And then, this most recent visit, I was paying more attention to the ride because I had already wrote it and I noticed it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like it doesn't necessarily feel like aero suspended swings. But if you actually look at it and pay attention, like you can see really seriously swinging. It's interesting.
I was unfamiliar with that. That's
I did not
definitely
know that.
that's uncanny. That's interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, we have some more news as well. Moving on to Six Flags Great America with their Whizzer.
This makes me
Trains.
happy.
This does, yeah. They put the badge, the Schwarzkopf badge, back on the emblems back onto the Wizard trains at Six Flags Great America. So I think we talked about this before. I want to say it was with Mindbender at over Georgia? Is it over Georgia where they did this? Or was it no? It was Six Flags Over Texas. I think it was Six Flags Over Texas, and Timmy and I actually when we went and we rode. Oh my gosh, what is their Schwarzkopf coaster? It's I can see
green.
it. It's green. I can see it.
Shockwave.
Shockwave. Yes, Shockwave. When we went and rode it, they have the Schwarzkopf badge on the trains, and I think that might have been when we talked about this ongoing addition to the rides.
I don't recall if Over Georgia had it on it or not. I mean,
Yeah, I don't remember over Georgia. I know over Texas
top
did.
trains. So, I mean, they're completely different trains.
Right,
so-
the premiere, but I thought it was like a throwback maybe.
Are
but I
no,
don't
they're
know.
not Premier. I don't think they're Premier.
I thought they were premiere. I thought premiere redid their trains.
They were designed by B&M. I know that, but they were
What?
built by somebody else.
I thought it was premiere. Here, hold up.
Well, I think
I thought it was Premiere too, actually.
Gerstlauer, I think, has the rights to it, but Premier does rebuild some.
B&M designed them, and then Premiere.
Well, no, but this was just for Over Georgia.
I could have sworn it was premiere, but that's just
Maybe Premier built them, but B&M actually designed them, because I remember getting in and going, "This is not a damn B&M. Like, what the hell? What the hell was B&M thinking?"
I found a Facebook post from the Historical Coaster Foundation that says that
God.
Mindbender trains were built by Premiere, but
Well,
That's
according
not-
to
that's
according to RCDB, the original trains were replaced by trains designed by B&M and manufactured by Valente SAS,
Boom.
which is, I do
Okay.
not remember.
I 100% maybe this is a Mandela effect where
Yeah.
I specifically remember Premiere redoing these trains.
I think Premier might have done the other ones,
The ones where
like the one in like on Shockwave.
those trains are still Schwarzkopf. I thought.
Are they? I don't know. All I know is I knew
I'm
this
completely
going
mind
into it.
blown now. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I
Don't-
couldn't think of the Valente. I was kind of thinking it was an off-brand, but like I couldn't remember specifically who built them. But I remember them being designed by B&M. I'm not really sure how I feel about them. Like I don't know. They have good and bad to them.
Have you ridden in the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you
when
go
we
to
went
over
down-
Georgia?
when we were going down to Florida.
Oh,
I
right,
stopped on my way down because I went
right.
down 81 to Chattanooga and then through Atlanta. And...
Right,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, last year. Yeah.
Yep. Was that last? Oh my god. Time is so weird.
And this is the first episode of Coach Talk Podcast,
I wish.
2017. All right, and then our last but not least story of the week, and actually of all time here, is that Leap the Dips is going to be having its 121st birthday celebration Saturday, June 3rd, starting at 11:30 a.m.
I'll be
I
there.
will say Leap the Dips definitely beat us in tenure. We made it 121 years, so we made it 5.
Bob
but,
actually knew the designer.
Bob was the designer. What are you talking about?
Bob built the coaster by hand.
He's a
Me-
hardware guy, after all.
Me and Mr. Morse.
Oh man, he is a hardware guy after all. And yeah, so if you want to attend, it will be like we said, it's a public. Anybody can visit, and it's at Lakemont Park, Saturday, June 3rd at 11:30 a.m. It's exciting. That's really incredible that it's reached that milestone.
Yeah. I think they were saying that rides are going to be $1.
It's actually gonna be $121 to ride because Right. Right.
They're going for the disinflation strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. All right. Well, that does it for our top of the show, our news segment. This is the first time. This is the first and last time. The first time. This is the last time I'll be saying this. Right after this break, we'll be talking about. We'll be having our end of show discussion. We're going to answer some questions from our listeners. We have a Q&A that we kind of set up, kind of last minute, but we got quite a bit of responses, so we'll look into that. We also have a weekly poll from last week, which is the best park, best 2023 edition for the parks. And with that, we will see you guys in the second half, right after this break.
Oh, last ever news. Damn.
I know.
Bro, I got one of those recommended tweets in the middle of this. I did not know that Colorado Adventure at Fantasialand themed to Michael Jackson at one point.
Really?
Yes, it was called Colorado Adventure, the Michael Jackson Thrill Ride. And he like opened the ride, like he wrote it. He was a rider.
What?
But did a goose fly into his face like that? I mean,
Yeah. Is it Fabio?
For some reason, there's only little kids riding this ride.
That's funny.
I actually did not know that this was themed to Michael Jackson at all. That's kind of funny.
How was it themed to
I
Michael
don't-
Jackson? I want to know how it was
I,
themed.
I think he just sponsored it, maybe. Because on the side, I'll put the tweet in the live stream chat.
I gotta go to the restroom real quick.
all right. Oh man.
Like you can see the tweet in the like that is definitely like I was like, this isn't real. So I Googled it and like literally like on Wikipedia it talks about it. Coasterpedia talks about it. They'll talk about how this ride used to be the Michael Jackson thrill ride. I want to know how Michael Jackson was related to the ride, but
I don't know. Where'd this come from?
Twitter recommended me this tweet. Like how you know how Twitter just recommends things out of the blue now.
So wait, was this Elon that said it? How did it get recommended? I don't understand.
No, like Twitter now, it will just start sending you like pretty much your For You page just pops up randomly in the replies to tweet.
Well, no, I was making a joke about Elon like directing people to his tweets. Because there was, what was it after? When was it that he started that? He got pissed because Biden got more responses than he did. So, like he had his engineers change the entire algorithm so that like Elon's tweets had more weight. And basically for like the next 2 days, everybody's recommended tweets were all Elon's tweets. Everything was all his tweets.
I'm just watching a Michael Jackson thrill ride front seat on ride POV. I missed this ride. This ride was awesome. With or without Michael Jackson.
Did you say you miss Michael Jackson?
I do.
So wait, what is it? The whole park was themed to?
No, just the ride. The ride was sponsored by Michael Jackson, apparently.
Wait, what ride? Where? What?
Colorado Adventure at Fantasialand.
Oh, okay. I was like, there's Colorado Adventure Park.
Oh.
I was like, wait, what is this? I don't understand what's going on. Huh. The ask something button isn't working for him. Huh, it's popping up for me. It's YouTube's fault. Blame YouTube.
The comments say, what does it have to do with Michael Jackson? He opened the coaster. He has taken over the partnership for this roller coaster until a certain period of time. It's his favorite coaster. It's abusive to children.
It's abusive to children. A Vacoma mine train. Yep, there it is on RCDB. The Michael Jackson thrill ride.
This was an awesome mine train. This is the best mine train I've ever been on. I miss Fantasia Land.
Yeah, Fantasia Land was amazing.
That's gotta be
Fantasia Land
like-
was the sleeper hit of Europe.
Oh, for sure. I'm like just getting all these recommended POVs now of rides at Fantasia Land, like the drop tower. It's gotta be the weirdest thing of all time.
It really went like this to me. Europe was like, it was like Portaventura, Europa, Energylandia like went all the way back down here, and then Fantasyland. It
Yeah.
was incredible. It was like Energylandia was just so cheap. Outside of the coasters, like the theming was so tacky, and
Yeah.
At what park?
Energylandia. Like every other park was pristine and beautiful and so detailed and intricate, and then it was like Energylandia just felt like literally a state fair in the United States.
They have an awesome catchy theme song though.
Energylandia.
It plays like all like 24/7 at the
Energylandia.
entrance. It just goes yeah. There's a song that goes like Energylandia.
Energylandia. Energylandia.
It's on Spotify.
It is. It's in Polish. I love it.
Yeah. Do you know there's a section of Poland called Lesser Poland?
Lesser?
Yeah. Literally, Sammy and I found. We were in Lesser Poland when we went.
Yeah.
I want to ride Fly.
You mean FLY?
That too. Is that how you're supposed to not pronounce it?
I don't know.
I don't
Everybody
think it actually matters.
I'm making a BBQ joke.
Okay, gotcha.
No, some people actually do call it FLY though.
I know some people do call it FLY.
Yeah, some people call it BBQ too.
Right, exactly.
3.
Maybe there's like 5 people that call it FLY. I do hate typing it out though because I feel obligated to use the periods and it's such a pain.
Cam, you know what? You want to know what coaster's at the top of my bucket list?
Hmm.
The euthanasia coaster. It's in Germany. Not the euthanasia coaster.
Guys, I don't want to do the second half. I don't want it to be over.
I know. Kind of postponing starting it, so. Let's not start till midnight, so every time Mike can win his bet,
So
win his
every time
bet
I
for
quit-
one last time, he can win
Yeah.
his bet. We're gonna delay till midnight.
Yeah, well, and James and I are both going.
I'm not. Wish I was, but wait, when is it actually?
Next weekend.
Next week, next weekend.
Oh, so when I'm going to Orlando,
Orlando.
Right.
I'm gonna
There'll
Canoe
probably,
this
there'll
weekend.
probably be no Thuzies.
Yeah, true. That's kind of nice.
Oh, that's actually is actually true. No, it'll be all the Thuzy that are pissed off because they couldn't go. Man.
We're packing 5 people in a Kia Soul and driving to Indiana.
Gonna be awful.
It'd be such a
Complete,
miserable car ride.
complete miserable. Yeah.
Velocity.
We're gonna play the song "Misery" by the Beatles the entire way there.
Yeah. The world is treating me bad.
Misery. Boom, 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 boom. God, Not Wallenballen joining the gang with terrible typos. I'll be in Orlando on Saturday. It's been too long since Velasa BA.
No, it's
Means like
Velocity
Velocity
Bay.
Bay.
Oh, he's trying to. Okay, he's actually. I just realized that guy.
It's
He's calling it
BA.
Velocity.
It's BAE though, is Bay,
Yeah.
not BEA.
It is. So
Oh,
it is a
so
typo.
you're still
technically.
wrong.
It's still a typo.
Do you know Bay is actually Danish for poop.
Timmy knows
that-
that because his mom
My
is
mom is
the
Danish.
queen of
Denmark.
Denmark. Literally, she can't go. You cannot go a sitting without her without bringing up being a
Denmark.
Dane. Being a
Yeah.
Dane.
My uncle's worse.
Danish pride.
My uncle always talks about his Viking heritage.
Like Denmark is like some profound country.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Should we do this?
Now.
We don't have a wiki poll. We can't.
Oh, okay. Let's. Oh, man. Getting to me.
Yeah. This is so surreal.
It's like it feels like it is, but it isn't. Like,
I feel like it's really gonna suck like next Thursday
Yeah.
night. That's really what's gonna get to me and be like, oh my god.
yeah, I'm actually going to be working on Thursday. That's weird. Weird, weird, weird.
Yeah, this is so bizarre. Why did that to be 206? Why couldn't it be like episode 305? That at least would have been a cool one.
That's it.
I'm on 325.
325. What about 426? Isn't that Draxter's height?
Draxter's height's 420.
Ah,
But here's a question.
that's kind of funny. I was
Surprised you
born
didn't
on
know
the
that.
same year as Dragster. I know that.
I was
We
born
can
the same year as
say
Millennium Force.
that.
Bob was born the same year as Leap the Dips.
I was born
I
the
think I
same
was
year.
I was confusing
As
King Nakai's height. King Nakai's height is
wait here.
456.
Laser Loop. And
We
my
were
dad
born
was
the same-
born. My dad was born the same year that this park opened. So
I was confusing Tapto Dragster and King Nakai's
So we
height, by
can
the
say
way,
that
guys.
we. Oh, Iron Gwazi. 206 feet tall. There we go. That's what we're going to stick with. That's why we're ending at 206.
Is it actually?
Yes.
How did you
Aaron
just?
Quasi.
We could also say Zadra.
It's 207 feet tall.
Zadra.
What?
Wait,
Aaron
what? This
Gwazi.
is-
RTDB says, when I sort by height, it says 206 feet tall.
Bro, what? Look at this though. I agree with you. But look, watch this. I'm just gonna screenshot this and put it in the chat. This makes no sense. Google is so misinforming me right now.
I trust Dwayne.
Look. It's 207 feet, but then when you actually read the description, it says 206 feet tall peak. We love the consistency from Google there. How does it even pull that number out of its? It's just pulling that number out of its ass.
The height and drop are the same according to RCDB, both 206.0. Zadra is also 206.0.
Let's say it's Zadra because Zadra's the better ride.
It was much better.
Yeah, but I haven't rode it.
That sounds like a you problem.
We could go with Draken, which is 206.7 feet, or
Yeah, none of
Flying
us ever did.
Aces.
And how the ride none of us have ridden.
You said what?
How are you getting all
Tape-
these different?
Tape measure didn't happen. What?
Measure.
I'm looking at the record hold. Are you looking at the record holder section of RCDB?
No. Here. Lincoln live chat.
Oh.
What are
God
the
dang it.
chances?
If we did it last episode, it could have been Magnum.
It's true.
Could have been Griffin at
Wait,
Busch
what if,
Gardens.
what if we just delete this episode?
Delete the episode we haven't finalized. yet.
What if we just don't post it? And that could also be Steel Vengeance.
And Griffin. An accelerator.
There's so many.
I mean,
there's so many cool
we could
summary
call
titles.
it whatever the hell we want. Like, are people going to yell at us? Like, we won't be here.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
We could call it Steel Force.
Call it episode
Mer-
205B version 3.2A.
The Merlin's Mayhem one.
The USB-C episode.
USB-C Type 4 Thunderbolt. I say we boycott the second half.
I know. I don't want to start it. We're probably gonna have to though.
Should changes. Turn and face the change. This is tough.
No, this is Coach Talk podcast.
Bro always has to be the comic
Keep
relief.
those puns coming, Timmy, because
For Grin and Barrett.
that's how we're gonna get through this.
We're gonna grin and bear it for Grizzly.
Uh,
For Big Bear Mountain.
Big Bear Mountain. We're coming for him.
you know, when you guys posted that picture of you said Big Bear spotted. You posted that in our chat.
Yeah.
I literally thought that it was some kind of Grizzly promotion, and you were like just using a pun or something to say Big Bear. It wasn't until later you actually mentioned Dollywood that I was like, oh wait, shit, they're actually a Dollywood.
That was such a crazy last minute trip.
That was literally like a 5-minute phone call, and I'm heading to James's place.
Do you remember when you almost talked me into doing a spur of the moment Dollywood trip when we were leaving King's Dominion or something? Or was it Busch
I think
Gardens?
so.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Like you really seriously almost had me. I almost did it. When I got home, I was so glad I didn't though, but man, I was so tempted.
That's literally, that was like, Jalen was supposed to work the next day, and then like she just found out she wasn't going to, or no, she had training that morning, and then didn't go in for it, and so she was like, let's go to Hershey. I'm like, well, Hershey's not open during the week yet. She's like, oh, let's go to Carowinds. I'm like, Carowinds is not open during the week yet. I'm like, Dollywood might be, so we looked at Dollywood, and it was like, and I'm like, hey, so we just drove down to Dollywood with Timmy.
And there was the world's largest Buc-ee's, but it was not open. It's supposed to be open by now. It was supposed to
Oh,
open
yeah.
mid-May.
It was so, it literally looked
Or
like
mid-April or something.
It literally looked like a
They're
manufacturing
waiting on a
plant.
part. They're running test cycles, but they're just waiting on a part.
Yeah, it's been running without a zero car, I've heard.
It literally looked like, Bob, I'm not gonna lie to you, it looked like the biggest warehouse of all time. I was like, that's a gas station. It's ridiculous how big it is.
I actually saw a picture of the inside of a Buc-ee's for like one of the first times ever just recently, and I was like, holy shit. Like I seriously used to think like there's a lot, the majority of sheets are not that huge, but like some of the newer ones are like massive, and I was always like, "Oh my god, this is the biggest convenience store ever." And then I saw that picture of Bucky's. I was like, "Holy
Nope,
shit!"
I have to redact that now. Yeah.
Bucky's is like the size of like a neighborhood Walmart.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that was the thing. I forget where somewhere I just like ran across it, and there was like I literally didn't know what I was looking at. I was like, what is this? what is this? I don't get it. And then like eventually I saw somewhere. I was like, oh yeah, that's a Bucky's. So I was like, holy shit, it's insane. So I might have to make Sheet second. I don't know. We'll see when I get to a Bucky's. But
Are you driving
You know
to Florida? You're not. Are you flying?
yeah, we're flying. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I won't. It'll be a while. Yeah, flying down on Spirit and back on Frontier. I'm flying into Cleveland though. Like when we come back, we're flying into Cleveland.
I was like, you're supposed to go to Universal. I thought.
I'm misbooked.
Actually, I'm going to Cedar Point.
Cleveland's like a 2-hour drive. We're flying.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, that was well. Initially, we were booked to leave from Philly and fly into BWI, and then Frontier like changed everything, and I was so glad because I did not want to go to Philly Airport.
I can't blame you. I wouldn't want to go to Philly.
Yeah, but I've been in Philly Airport multiple times, and it's never been a pleasant experience. But yeah, like the new schedules that were out, like it actually worked out that we could actually fly out of Latrobe, which is like super close to where my family lives. Literally like maybe 15, 20 minutes max. But then like for timing, I like BWI is just farther from Pittsburgh, so Cleveland worked out. I've never been in Cleveland though. I mean, Cleveland Airport. I'm just going to keep talking about random shit. So we
No, I know. How about that airline food?
on
I
Frontier,
can't bear it.
I get like the equivalent of a Lunchables. I have to buy it, but
Oh man.
I hate to say it, but I think we need to do this.
You sure?
No.
Already 3, 2.
Yep, we got to. All right. You ready?
Right. Yep.
3, 2.
And it has come to the second half of the show where it is time for us to kind of divulge a little bit more into the fact that the podcast is ending. We are calling it quits here. Yeah, so this is going to be a lot.
If we don't make
More.
a mistake, that's the last time I ever did the countdown, the 3, 2, 1 countdown.
Right. So yeah, this is a lot more grim of a half here. It'll be a little bit more sad here. So but we hope you guys still stick around because we have a lot to talk about. So
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff. I don't know. Where should we start?
I don't know. Where do we start?
right.
See, we're
You
doing
wanna-
classic coaster
We
talk
want to
here.
start back at the beginning. Let's just trace back through our show's history real quick. Just really quick abridged version and see where we've gotten to. So I'll start, I guess, since I was the first. I started the show in 2017 after Mega Coaster Review. Obviously, we if everything goes well, you have heard the Mega Coaster Review intro at the beginning of the show. And that was a project that I just started.
Wasn't that Mickey Mouse? Mickey Mouse did that intro.
Yeah,
right?
that was
I could've sworn, yeah.
Walt Disney gave me permission. He said you're such a big Disney dick. Timmy is such a big Disney dick that we're giving you the okay to go ahead, the approval to go ahead and use Mickey Mouse at the beginning of the show. No, yeah. So, Mega Coaster Review was the inception, and that originally it was two projects, right? I had Mega Coaster Review and Coaster Talk, and then I decided that I didn't really feel like there was a need for both. I kind of merged the two. I used the YouTube channel Mega Coaster Review for Coaster Talk, so that's kind of where I don't know if people have ever wondered where those kind of fell apart, but yeah, Mega Coaster Review kind of transitioned into Coaster Talk, but they did coexist at one time. We did our first few episodes on SoundCloud, and that's why if you ever go back to the archives and try to find any episode prior to 7, you have to actually go to SoundCloud to listen to them because the first 6 episodes were on SoundCloud, and they're still there. They're still public. You're still able to view them. You're still able to listen to them. They're definitely different quality and different substance than what we come to now know as Coaster Talk Podcast.
They're highly entertaining.
They are.
The early YouTube videos as well are fantastic. Let me tell you.
They're entertaining, yeah, for sure. 13-year-old James. I mean, yeah.
Saying
Peak
Gatekeeper is better than Top Tail Dragster.
Peak entertainment. Peak entertainment. Right. So that occurred. That transpired. I'd say I think it was like episode 40 was about the time Bob first came on as a guest.
I think it was 36, wasn't it?
36. Okay, 36. And then
Which
few episodes
we should get into that story of how that all actually came about.
right. We
Because
should.
that all started with a fight.
Yeah, it did.
It literally all started with a fight.
Well, no, to be fair, well, it did. Us getting to know each other didn't start with a fight, but the podcast thing did. Yeah. So we met at that Ace event at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, right? And then
Yeah.
we did an event, I think like the subsequent weekend or something similar at King's Dominion. And we sat down at King's Dominion and argued about conversions. Conversions, credits, relocation of credits.
Because enthusiasts never argue about credits ever.
Right. And I was like, you know what, man, you just need to come on my show. We can argue on the show about it.
And it was funny too, because like everybody that was with us was like laughing at us arguing.
Right.
And I think everybody kind of recognizes.
I think what it was too. At one point, I think I pulled out my phone and like we did like a video.
We might have.
And then I was like, listen.
I think we actually did. Now that it.
Yeah, I can probably go back and find that on the Instagram stories. I think it was an Instagram story that I did where me and Bob were arguing about that. And I was like, we should just do this in a podcast form. That'd be so much easier.
Yeah. And then, because you brought me on as a guest first, so we could argue about it. Because I remember when we were listening back, I was listening to some old episodes for the 200th. And I remember you had Alex on, I think.
Right.
And you guys started arguing about the stuff that we argued, except you both agreed.
Right.
Which I wasn't aware of at the time, but looking back, I was like, what the hell? They were literally arguing about me without me. Or about my opinion without me.
That's funny, yeah.
But
yeah, and we evolved from there, obviously. At that time, I think we were still doing like 5 or 6 segments where like the brake run, the coaster craze, all that.
yeah.
And we would slowly evolve into
Coaster craze.
Yeah.
Coaster craze.
Right. That was literally just me with my voice bass amped like way up. It's like, but it was beautiful. Yeah, and we would slowly evolve into what we now know as like the 2-segment show where we have the news and then the second half.
We love so much. We're so happy to have this format.
Yeah, but there really was like because at first I was a guest every now and then eventually it just like things worked so well that we,
I think at one point we were like calling you like a temporary co-host, and then we were like, let's just call him a full co-host, and then I just dropped the host,
guest host or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah. Well, because like you were coming on like periodically because you were still working, so you were like you weren't making it work with work every week, so it wasn't like you were coming on consistently. So it was like, come on, you're like a guest host, and then like eventually you were like, let me just start coming on every week, and we're like, let's just call you host.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember as a listener, because I was just friends with James at the time, and I knew Bob just through passing at parks and events and stuff, I think. And I just remember only listening to the episodes that Bob was on because they were so entertaining.
I still to this day do not know how James did a podcast by himself. Like to me, it's like I don't know that I could actually sit down and.
It's quite a feat.
Like like it just.
I know how you do it. You write out what you're gonna say every single word.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Conjecture. Bullshit. Did not do that.
That was always the funniest thing when we were preparing shows. Like in the beginning, when it was me and James, was like he was always like writing, not scripted. It wasn't fully scripted. Like he wasn't like writing scripts for us, but like every news story that he put on the rundown, like
I wrote a
he
little
had
summary
blurb about,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why are you doing that? We just talk. And then I remember the first who was the first guest that we had when
Oh,
with
man.
both of us. Was it Steve Amos?
It might have been Steve Amos. It might have been Kurt Warner. Maybe? No,
No, I don't remember.
not Kurt
talking-
Warner. Christopher
maybe-
Warner. Excuse me. I don't know why. I said Kurt
No,
Warner's a football
oh
player.
yeah, I think he came after Steve. Maybe I'm not sure, but I remember that
Right.
first thing. He like James sends me a message. He's like, "Hey, I need you to come up with 6 questions that you're gonna ask him." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? I don't know how the conversation's gonna go." I'm
Right.
like, and it
I
was
came at
funny
it from
how,
a
like,
much more structured
yeah.
OCD perspective of
Like he does with trips.
yeah.
And
For
I'm
sure.
like, I'm not.
That's just my
I-
personality.
This is not me faulting James in any way. Like he had his style and it worked for him. But for me, it was like I can't just sit here and come up with questions. I just like to talk.
Yeah.
You haven't
I mean, I
noticed
can
that,
be
huh?
organic, but it's like, to me, I don't know. There's some sort of complicit nature in me that's like, if you have it all prepared and planned, there's no room for error. There's no room for a mistake. And to me, that's, I hate making mistakes. So
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely. There's also a fear factor in that of like you just kind of dive in and you don't know where it's going to go. And like, I mean, I'll be
Right,
honest with you. Like,
right.
there's times where like when guests came on that we didn't or I didn't know. There was a fear factor in that for me
Yeah,
because it's
there
like, what
is, yeah.
if? Because for me, usually, like we just start a conversation and it could just go. As you might have noticed with all the rabbit trails that we've been on in the history of the show,
This show has been one big rabbit trail. Really.
it really has. But like I recall like there's those times where it's like, well, what if I start talking to this person and like
I
there's
absolutely
just
run out of
nothing goes,
things.
like, what? Okay, this is a little awkward, but
Yeah. Or it's like I ask a final question and I'm like, oh, I have no follow up to that. Right. I don't know. Yeah. So after Bob came on for quite some time, it was Bob and I. And then this past year, actually, we incorporated Timmy into the show. I'm sorry, I just saw what Airtime Mike said.
That's literally what I was just laughing at too. So for those listening to the show, Airtime Mike attempted to say that he always loved the rabbit trails, but he actually said, but we love that Tabitha.
Airtime
Right.
Mike is the king of typos. If you have not known this,
And
How do
something
you-
that's
like those aren't even next to each other on the keyboard. Like, what- I don't-
who is Tabitha that he types so much that
Tabitha. Mike, you cheating? Who is Tabitha? All right, so actually, this is a great way to segue into this, and then we'll get back to talking about the history. But something that I think is important and imperative to let the audio only listeners, the podcast listeners, is there's a whole other show that you're not seeing when you listen to the show on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. The live streams have really been an entertainment factor in themselves. So if you're like, oh man, I'm missing now 206 episodes and it's over. I've listened to every episode. I have nothing more to do. I'm going to move on to the next show. You can do that. That's fine. But if you have time, also sit down and go watch some of the old live streams because that honestly was some of the best content there.
Yeah, they're
It's
really
different.
have been.
It's
Oh, yeah,
different, but
you have
it's
no
great.
clue how long there is. And when you listen to this in audio form, there is like 20 seconds between the first half and the second half. When we're recording it, it was actually 2 hours
Right.
of us just talking.
There
So
have been
there's a whole other-
breaks in between the first and second half that have been longer than the podcast itself. So
Yes, so like you are missing a whole other show in there sometimes.
and like I said, it's different entertainment. So if you're not as a fan of crude humor, sometimes that's what we get into. So if that's not your thing, that's fine. I do want to give a preface there, but if that's something that you like and you've enjoyed about our show, then that's definitely a great place to exploit more of that kind of content.
Well, speaking of airtime Mike, I should actually also give a warning. If you're going back and watching live streams, if you get to the live stream where airtime Mike and I did the show, there's a very long gap of blackness. Which this is still one of my favorite stories.
Word that very carefully, Bob.
Yes, be careful. Tread carefully here.
Well,
Oh.
we were recording. Airtime Mike and I were recording, and absolutely everything went wrong. Everything went wrong.
Right.
And that we were. It was well early into the morning. But what was it? Were you sick, James? Was that what happened?
Right. Yeah, I think I was sick.
James had COVID, I think.
Yeah, I think I did have
Maybe
COVID.
that's what it was. So it was so it was just me and Mike, and like James actually woke up at some point and sends me a message and says, "Hey, why haven't you stopped the stream?" And I was confused. I was like, "Why would I stop the stream?" I'm like completely confused. Apparently the stream was just complete blackness and I had no clue. And he had no idea that we were actually still recording because nobody in their right mind would still be recording at that time.
Right. And there was nobody still active on the live stream. I was like, okay, so they've obviously the chat didn't notify. It just made sense to me that okay, they finished up and Bob just forgot to click and record and stream. But apparently we're still going.
And I think it was that night that Mike's like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to buy all new equipment.
Right. Yeah. But all right, let's get back to kind of tracing our history here. So yeah, I think no, I'd say about 2 years probably. It's been Timmy made his first appearance, I'd say about 2 years ago. There was some conflicts with Bob working. So sometimes Bob wasn't able to jump on Thursday nights and record. And so Timmy would fill in as anti-Bob was what we were calling him at the time.
Still.
Yeah, right. Where basically, our shows would go so much quicker and so much easier because there wouldn't be as constant arguing between Bob and
I. It'd go from hour 45 to 30 minutes.
Because instead of every news story invoking some sort of huge argument debate, it would just be like a smooth, yeah, sure, whatever, and right into the next story, bleed into right to the next story. So, so that occurred, and then soon, I believe, right around maybe early last year, we decided to bring him back on as a full-time host. And ever since then, it's been the three amigos here. Yeah, and that's where we're kind of bringing us to today. Yeah. Yeah.
This is difficult. This is really difficult.
It is. Man.
Yeah, I guess we should get into why.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess this is the part where I take over then.
This is the part where we blame Timmy.
This is
All his fault.
This is all my fault. This is all my fault, guys. So this is a difficult thing for me to say.
Timmy's coming out of the closet. Timmy's coming out of the closet.
Well, this is the fun. This is the thing. The secret that that James almost always gave away.
Right.
So I am working at King's Dominion now in marketing. My official title is the digital marketing coordinator. So I have access now to a ton of super sensitive secret information, and it's just smart for me not to be
Much
on
of
the
a
show anymore.
conflict. Too much of a conflict, yeah.
Because it's at this as much as I love doing this show and it brings me so much joy every week. It's just my future career. It jeopardizes my career because it's if work finds out about this and if I continue to do this and I'm talking and expressing my opinions and stuff, it just would not go well over with King's Dominion, I believe.
Yeah.
Especially because I know Bob had a good point earlier too. If I don't say stuff, then there's going to be rumors. If I do say stuff, then there's going to be rumors if people find out that I work at King's Dominion. So it's just, as hard as it is to say, it's just I can't continue to do the show now because of my career.
Right.
It's I've talked in the live streams. I'm not sure if I've said it on the show that I've getting a degree in public relations. I'm actually able to use that degree in like something that I'm super passionate about. But it just unfortunately it means that I can't continue to record the show, which is just it's really sad. But at the same time, it's a new page, it's a new chapter for me,
Right.
which is exciting at the same time. But also it means the chapter unfortunately has to end.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm I mean, we are ecstatic for you, Timmy. Like seriously, absolutely ecstatic. Like so happy you got the job.
Right. Just why did you have to do it to us? Why couldn't you have worked for a damn fast food corporation or something?
Funland in Fredericksburg.
Well, I'm gonna say
Go work at Sheets,
correspondingly.
damn it.
Correspondingly, similarly to Timmy, I've also been working at King's Dominion for some time now, and I'm an operator, and we've made jokes about that before because obviously I've let it slip a few times here or there.
James and I have both been operators.
Right.
It
and-
actually,
but the thing is, being an operator isn't in itself that big of a deal. My
right.
position right now doesn't really have access to the same information that Timmy does, and even if I did hear something or here or there, like I wasn't coming on the show and presenting it as fact and trying to, trying to kind of ensue any type of rumor.
And
Right,
But-
we were
You're
just a
still
little bit
only
more,
a slight bit above a Dippin' Dots guy.
right.
but we
um,
still try to always be like really sensitive around.
yeah,
the
keep it
Cedar Fair
confidential.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I do, and I am hoping to, as well, advance my career within the amusement park industry. And there's opportunities that could arise as early as this summer where I would be going into, a little bit higher of a position where information might be a little bit more accessible for me. And I just don't think it's smart, like Timmy, to continue doing a podcast about an industry that I want to be heavily involved with, because there's obviously a conflict of interest. A lot of times you're signing NDAs for these companies, and it's just, there's a lot of liability that you could face if you let out the wrong piece of information. And I don't want our show to be targeted, and I don't want, obviously personally to be targeted if something does arise. So it's just pragmatic to unfortunately call it quits.
I kind of, have you ever wondered, like, because like, I mean, we just mentioned it, and I'm sure people have picked up because you have let things slip, and you've stopped yourself and stuff, but it makes me wonder how many people actually knew versus
I'd have like
didn't.
I think I told the story outside of obviously Discord or YouTube or anything. Like nobody heard this other than YouTube probably, but there was a time when I was operating Twisted Timbers actually, and I was on the mic, and I had like somebody in the station was like, James Barber, like screamed at it, and I was like, what? And I looked over, and he's like James Barber. He's like, you're Kosher Talk, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, and he's like, I could tell. I was like, am I listening? I was like, he's like, all of a sudden I was my ears perked up, and I was like, am I listening to the show right now? Like, what's going on? Like, what? I heard that voice, and I was like, oh yeah, totally, that's me. Yeah. It was awkward, to be honest. Not because obviously it was great to have some recognition and I talked to him and stuff, but it's like, oh man, like it's my place of work, and now like something I would do outside of work is kind of conflicting with it. So it was tough, but obviously then I let it go and let it pass. And
that was actually one of the things, like for me, that was kind of a surreal thing of like, nobody recognized me in parks, but there were a couple of times where I heard somebody yell my name and I turned around and have no idea who they are. They actually just heard me talk and they recognized my voice. And it was just like, it was cool, but it catches you off guard. It's like,
yeah, our faces aren't recognizable because it's the voices. The voices behind the face.
There was
Exactly.
one time actually at work I did get recognized from the show without me saying anything.
oh, really?
Yeah, they recognized me from the live look-ins. So
Wow.
that was pretty surreal as well. And it was
So
it
there
was
you
some
go.
people that
Timmy's
come
the most
pretty often.
attractive out of all of us, apparently.
Everyone's looking at Timmy. Right.
His exact quote was, "You're the guy with the headphones."
Oh, there you obviously.
I do wear headphones. He was not wrong.
So I guess I can give a little bit of good news. While they have conflicts of interest that are preventing this, I am actually going to step in and, can we call it an RMC?
No, it's trademarked.
Consider maybe more of
property
a
theft.
maybe more of a, just a Woody retract like what happened to Grizzly, because I don't think you want to get RMC. I think Bob wants anything but an RMC, to be honest.
That's true. Actually, you know what? I so don't like RMC. I think we're going to go the side friction route. Yeah. So since I don't have a conflict of interest and I want to keep doing this, and I can. Sorry, guys. I'm actually going to be working with anybody in the live look that has come to the live look on YouTube may recognize Thuzy Mob, aka Steph. We are actually working.
Would it be
on,
Steph, aka Thuzy Mob?
Yeah. What?
That's Thuzy Mob, aka Steph.
Which
Her legal name is Thuzy Mob.
Yes, but she
Steph
goes
is
by
just
Steph.
what we happen to call her.
Yeah.
she's like, you know what? I don't like my name. I'm going to call myself Steph.
Steph. Like her.
So we're working on a podcast called Side Friction, and we don't have all the details yet. Right now we're talking about hopefully July-ish. But we're not sure. We don't know who all's going to be on it and the exact format. I think we're definitely going to try to fill the whole, at least some of the whole of Coaster Talk. I don't know if we can compare. It will be different. But hopefully it'll be something that listeners of Coaster Talk can actually move over to and actually fill some of that void. We do have the domain registered, so you can watch for updates at sidefriction.com.
It's a great looking website.
It is a terrible website right now.
Bob
and I spent way too much time.
Master. God, next time I do a website, I need Bob to help me out.
I work on the stuff that runs websites. I don't do the websites. And this is clear. If you go to that website right now, you will clearly understand why I don't do websites. But you can watch for updates there. And hopefully we'll get some listeners whenever we start around July or somewhere around there. And we'll see what happens.
Right, yeah. That's exciting. I was going to mention there's a ongoing, talk with Timmy and I to do a new podcast outside of roller coasters. Obviously, we can't talk roller coasters, but we don't really have any concrete plans to do anything yet. But we're looking at maybe in a month or two, rejoining and collaborating on maybe like a horror music podcast. So that's pending. We'll see. That's likely, but we haven't registered a domain or figured out any of the details yet. But that's something that's in the potential future.
And we have already discussed this. If once we get our podcast going inside Friction, whenever they decide to get something going, we will certainly announce it on our podcast and at least let you know that development.
There's a place to interact with Timmy and I. Yeah.
Yeah. Because definitely we want to. We're gonna miss you guys.
For sure.
And also, real quick,
best part of the show.
Real quick, yeah, I agree. If you would like to, coastertalkpodcast.com/Discord325 is still an active link. You can go there, still join our Discord. Our plan is to keep the Discord server kind of intact, still just kind of for a place for just coaster discussion. We'll see how the formatting of it changes. Obviously, we're no longer going to be hosts or anything, so maybe we'll just change some things over there. But James, Timmy, and Bob will still be accessible there, and the community that we've built, we're hoping to still maintain there. It won't be Coaster Talk Podcast anymore, but it'll be some alternate version of that where we're
Coaster
talking
Talk.
and having a good time. Yeah, Coaster Talk, right? That's what I was thinking.
Mega Coaster Review.
Yeah, right.
Mega Haunt Review.
Right.
So definitely, definitely hop in that Discord server and stay in touch with us. We'll. I think that's probably also going to be a source of stuff going on with Side Friction and the potential future horror podcasts as well. That would be a place where we'll announce stuff.
So it's almost going to be like we have like some sort of network, the Kosher Talk Network, and then those two podcasts are going to be like almost incorporated into that network. Yeah.
Yeah, so channels are going to change, names are going to change in there, some things are going to go on, but that Discord server should hopefully remain intact as long as Discord remains intact. Which I personally I don't know how long that's going to.
If not, TeamSpeak is our destination.
I'll fall back to TeamSpeak.
Teamspeak.com/325.
325. Oh man. Yeah. Man.
Yeah. So
it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to sit here and just imagine a world where Kosher Talk doesn't go on. Like it's just been such a normal part of all of our lives for so long.
What's kind of
the less, but to Bob and I for almost 5 years now, it's been constant every week. Very little breaks. We took breaks here and there, but I mean, I know like Kosher Radio sometimes they do like a 1 or 2 month break. Like we didn't do that. We kept doing it. We wanted to keep producing content. We took
a month break, I think,
at one point. And over the course of 5 years, we took 1 month break.
And I took a sabbatical for a summer.
You did, but the podcast itself was ongoing.
But yes,
some changes here and there, and we did take a break or two, but there was nothing major.
Never did catch the Drunk Riders though.
I was gonna say the saddest part about this is the Drunk Riders win. They
they
win. And that's the part that makes me.
And but you know what? You know what will always remain true, and it is an empirical fact that we started before them. Like somehow they got us a number. They got us in numbers of episodes, but we started before their show.
We were the original theme park podcast.
We've had the original theme park podcast.
Yeah. They're probably relieved that the T-bars are no longer a threat, though.
Yeah, right.
I know
for sure. I mean, just imagine if we stayed going for a little bit. T-bars is that was coming to fruition.
Yep, definitely.
It was going to become a reality.
It is kind of, these last few days have been kind of surreal because we've been simultaneously like still collecting links for news for a new show, right, and also talking about how we're going to dissolve this and like it's just a weird. It's been weird and I mean.
It's been very bizarre.
Yeah, it's like, in some ways, I think the fact that we were working towards a show kind of helped us absorb some of the blow, but I'm afraid of this night.
Yeah,
we're gonna be honest. But yeah, I don't know. We haven't really discussed social media.
Right.
So I guess
that'll be something that we talk about at a future time. We do still want to there's some I know we talked about doing individual personal goodbyes on the social media channels, and kind of sending that out to users that might not have been able to listen to the show yet or watch the live streams. So there's still some loose ends we have to tie up before we kind of transition social media. But we'll see. Yeah, there's definitely some room for discussion on things.
Yeah, I think so. For now, just if you follow a social media outlet that we do, basically look for updates on that, and how it's going to merge, and we'll maybe share our personal channels on those platforms, right. I mean, Mastodon's going to probably be me. But yeah, we'll as we start winding that down, we'll definitely update those and let you know what to expect.
Yeah.
And we're planning on keeping the website going for at least to the end of the year, I believe. Right?
Yes, that's the hopes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we're still talking about the libsyn back end. We're going to try to keep that going for maybe even a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, indefinite time, but it's going to be hopefully for over a year. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
even if that somehow goes inactive, we did just submit it to, what was it, Podcast RE. There's a podcast archive where it should continue to exist until that website dissolves itself. I don't know.
Yeah.
We can update people on social media there.
There's a database there with our podcast. Yeah, and we'll update you via social media. Yeah, if any changes.
We're also looking into maybe archiving at archive.org.
Yeah, on the Wayback Machine.
This is all of this really. I know, for a lot of you, you were literally just talking last week about keeping us updated, and now you're shutting down. this hit
super
us
sudden.
as hard as it hit you and as fast as it hit you. So like things happened very, very rapidly that we kind of hit this point. So that's why, like, it would have been nice to have a little more like planning on our exit
back end.
strategy, but
Yeah.
we just didn't have that luxury.
It would have made things more difficult, I think, too. Like, as
Yeah.
much as it would been nice to have been planned, knowing
Yeah.
like, oh man, we have one more episode left, two more
That's
episodes
true,
left.
yeah.
That would have been. It would have been so much more emotionally difficult. I
Well, and
think.
it also, I mean, let's face it, it's Coaster Talk. It would have been a disaster anyway.
Yeah. If it had been planned out, yeah.
Well, actually,
yeah,
the
been
more we
worse.
plan stuff, the worse things get. So.
Right. See episode 200. I'm just-
Episode 100.
right. Oh man,
Oh, that was.
that was great, but it was awful.
You remember? I don't know. Does I don't know if we say this on the actual episode 100. I don't know how many people know. Like when we actually recorded the whole Drunk Rider segment of our episode 100, that was actually the second show. Because the first, oh god, we remember
re-record.
Craig. Holy crap! How we can't end this show without talking about Craig.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did an entire show, the entire segment with Drunk Riders and Andrew Hyde,
Right.
and nothing got recorded. It was all just gone.
Right.
So
And
we
luckily
actually-
for us, both of them were available the next night to record again.
yeah, thank God for that.
If not, yeah, I don't know what we would have done. But we re-recorded and pretty much just emulated the entire shtick we did the night before that night. It was pretty impressive.
It really was. It really was.
Yeah, episode 100 was truly one of the most difficult, but like one of the episodes where the return on investment was so high. Like once it was a final product, I was like, oh my gosh,
man.
this is great. This is amazing.
I still love like.
But I remember sitting for hours, like, holy shit, I want to blow my brains out right now.
I want to write euthanasia.
This episode, I really was like, this episode is not being finalized. Like, I can't do it. I don't know if I can do it. This might be the end. I thought episode 100 might have been the end of the show. It was great. Oh, man.
Yeah, and I like if you're one of those people that don't want to really go back and listen to episodes that you didn't like, if you started listening after a certain point and you don't like going back, I still highly recommend that you go back and you listen to episode 100, part 1 and part 2, both of them. That was I think that's probably the episode I'm most proud of. Like that was just such a great time.
It was a great conversation.
Really, really was great. We didn't do news, so like stuff is more relevant. It's not like, oh, I'm hearing news from so long ago. It's
Right, yeah.
it's topical of the time, but it was just so much fun. It was just a lot
Even
of fun.
outside of the information and news that we discussed, we talked about things that are timeless, that are still relevant
Yeah.
today. So for sure, it was a good listen. That's a good listen.
How Still Vengeance sucks.
Oh man, we talked about like Taco Bell, like if it was like the worst or best fast food. I remember like at one point we were talking about that. That was great.
If you listen to the Drunk Riders and you know about their rabbit trails, imagine their rabbit trails combined with our rabbit
ours.
trails. That's
The synergy was just amazing. Right. All right. So now I think it's time to maybe answer some of the user questions that we got. So we actually got quite a bit, guys. So
really
yeah. Yeah. So I don't even know if we have enough time to answer all of these, to be honest, but we'll
Wow,
try.
really?
I would say
what are we gonna do?
rapid
Ruin our
fire.
format?
Right.
Rapid fire. Let's go through them.
It's a 5-hour show.
I would say we got
End it.
I would say we got 20 questions. Maybe 25.
Let's do it.
All right.
try to-
So favorite moment recording from the podcast. So in our past, what was the time where you remember where you're like, wow, this is amazing. This is great, I guess.
Oh, I know mine already.
A great callback.
Well,
Deep.
I'm gonna say this is kind of tough on the spot because like this is gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna answer the question and I'm gonna be laying in bed going, oh my god, why didn't I say that? But aside from episode 100, fairly recently, the Chat GPT thing,
that was fun.
I had so much fun on that episode. That's definitely one of the highlights for me. Like that whole segment with Chat GPT was I think that's what I'm gonna say. Like I said, when I'm laying in bed tonight, I'm probably gonna go, well, I should have said that. I should have said that. I should have said that. But right now, off the top of my head, that one.
This isn't a prod or a jab at either of you, but then this just happens to be the one that I was like my first one to. Episode 7 with Mike Collins for me was such a important and like just complete transition from what I'd been doing. Like I've been having my goofy friends on and we've been talking about nonsense, and then Mike Collins came on, my idol, somebody that's been so imperative into my life. And I had the chance to sit down and talk with him. That was like the first time I interviewed somebody. There was like just so many like innovative and different things that I was doing with that podcast episode that I hadn't done prior. And that was just such a game changer episode for me. And I remember sitting there like, holy crap, like this is really what it's all about. This is what, this is what I want this podcast to be. I want it to be awesome. I want it to be professional. I want to have guests on. I want to talk to people. I want to, and I want to provide information, because before it was me and my friends joking around for the most part and being goofy and talking about stuff, but it wasn't really, I don't know, it wasn't instrumental, I felt like, in like the news type of thing. We weren't talking about important information. We weren't really providing it to people in the way that I wanted to. And that was really like the transition where from there on, the podcast really began to take form and shape into what it is now. And then obviously from episode 200 on, we started goofing around and doing stuff again like we did in the old days, which is fine. That's totally fine. We changed base entirely, but that's where like from episode 7 to like episode 190 something, that's really where most of the podcast formed, I feel like, was in that episode. And then obviously we'd have Bob on, and that's where like obviously the 2-host format with the segments came about. But from that point on, I was like, I want it to be structured. I want it to be informational. I want it to convey imperative information to the community. And I felt like that was, having him on too was also a big deal for me. And he obviously would become our announcer for our intro. And yeah, so that was really important. I think a milestone episode.
I want to, real quick before you say anything, Timmy, I want to say something to you, James. This intro that we have had for the last, year or two?
Right.
You nailed it. Like that. I am so like, this is something I've even mentioned this to Steph. Like I'm like, there's no way we could come up with an intro like that. Like I'm sad that intro is not going to be used. I love that intro.
I thought about that too, because it's like I put so much work into that intro, and it sucks that it was only utilized for a year. Like that intro is, it's really
so
great.
Good. James still bragged about it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, that's one of the greatest things I've ever accomplished. I mean, I was like, oh my God. I remember sitting there for like an hour or two, and I'm like, I remember sitting there, I'm like, this is what I want to do. How do I like formulate this? And then I just did it. I was like, holy shit, I actually just pretty much nailed it, what I wanted to do. Like, this is great. I had it in my head, and I translated it into an actual product, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I actually did it.
You have every right to keep bragging about that, because that intro is phenomenal. I love it so much.
All right, that is upsetting too for me. Yeah. That was a lot of work, but it paid off. Yeah.
So for me personally, I mean, just I haven't been on the show for too long here. Maybe, I don't know, how long is it? A little bit, around a year.
A year or two.
Mm-hmm. But the episode about marathoning was my favorite.
That actually was a really good one.
The diaper conversation, the fact that I actually agreed with Bob, it was just such a weird experience. It was so funny.
It was a little surreal, yeah. To have you two versus James, I was like, what? Versus myself, I was like, what?
that was such a funny one. I still think about that in my head all the time, about the stupid freaking the diapers to marathon because you can't go to the bathroom.
Stay in the station. All right.
RC actually, he's a truth Uzi because he has code. We call him Code Browns.
Code Brown.
Code Brown.
Oh man, that was awful. All right, well that was a quick hit, right? We did those rapid fire questions,
guys. 19 to go.
We're on track here.
Okay, this is a goofy question. We don't actually have to answer this, but I did want to actually read it on air. How many shows did you do with no pants on? That's from Airtime Mike.
So I don't actually own a pair of pants.
I'm confused. Pants? Pants?
Pantalones?
I will say that I don't think I think I always had pants on, but many times I had pajama pants on.
Right. Well, the thing is, we have to stand up sometimes, and it wouldn't be appropriate.
You are set up. See, I can slide to the side,
Right.
For
yeah.
you guys listening to the podcast,
be
you
fair-
have no clue what we're doing, but whatever.
You're-
James's camera is in a position where he can't get away with that if he has to leave.
It is
the
pointing
computer.
at his door. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
thing is,
Mine is
when you
pointing at the
first
wall.
started, Bob, though, when you first started, you were at your previous apartment, and I think at that point, when you stood up, like everything was visible. So maybe it just translated over to your new place. You
That's
didn't feel
yeah, that's
comfortable.
that's
Timmy's
possible.
a similar case with me, though. His door is almost in view here. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, if you bring back any defunct rides, what would it be?
Oh, volcano.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Bob's
that.
gonna say Volcano, Topsail Dragster.
Yeah. That's honestly mine.
Other than volcano, like behind volcano, I would probably say, well, Riverside Cyclone or Big Dipper at Geauga Lake.
Or I'm gonna throw a curveball because you didn't say roller coaster. I'm gonna say Dark Castle. Excuse me, Dark Coaster. Dark Castle really like. After riding Dark Coaster and realizing like this is what we're gonna have for the next 10 to 15 years, I'm like, wow, like Dark Coaster really was this elevated technology that we didn't have outside of Florida, and it really was kind of like, at least when I was a kid, neglected. Like I just didn't realize how impressive it was and how fantastic of a ride it was. And going back and riding Dark Coaster and like just realizing what a fail that was kind of really made me sad and kind of reminiscent about Dark Castle, which was such a great attraction. I'm gonna miss it dearly. So that's definitely one for me too. It sucks that both are in Virginia. Like both the two ones that I really want back are in Virginia. Like, oh, my home parks just did me so dirty.
Yeah, I mean,
They did me wrong. Oh,
Yeah, I just want them to retheme everything at California Adventure back to like it was in like the 2000s.
oh my god, that doesn't count. All right. Alex actually threw us a curveball, not roller coaster related here, but it's user question, so it's applicable. What genres of music or artists have you been listening to recently? Does anyone?
Yeah,
have
I
any?
guess I'm gonna have to own this.
Oh
Okay.
god, here we go.
I'm totally I'm a top 40 guy. I mean, Icon for Hire is my favorite band by far, which isn't top 40, which is interesting. But
Republica.
yeah, I don't really listen to. I mean, it makes me cry now.
Oh,
But yeah, Republica was one of my favorite bands, like when I was younger. But yeah, it's mostly.
my
It's mostly
favorite
top
artist is
40.
Beck. We know that, but
I'm a loser, baby. Wait, is that right? That's him,
yeah,
right?
that's Beck. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only song you know by him.
It's basically. I mean, I probably know other songs. I just don't know them for sure.
I am honestly right now. I'm in between. Like normally I go into like these moods where I'm listening to a specific genre, a specific band, a specific artist. Right now I'm kind of in between those phases right now. I've been listening to a lot of alternative, like 90s alternative rock, but I'm not going to say that I'm necessarily fixated on that genre specifically. Also been listening to a lot of like funk, and I still listen to. I was in last year. I'd say I was in like a very big progressive rock, like 70s progressive rock phase. So I'm still kind of in between, fixating on one genre right now. I haven't made like a playlist, and I'm only listening to a specific genre. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
For me personally, I use like all these apps to track kind of what music I'm listening to because I find it interesting. James is going to listen to the Eagles here lately,
Right? Yeah, I did get you into the Eagles. I know.
and Billy Joel. I've been
yes.
listening to a lot of Billy Joel lately. Besides that, like some staples for me are always I'm listening to the Beatles, both as a group and individually. Everyone knows this by now, I think.
Right.
And then I listen to Logic, which is a rapper that like nobody likes. So
Yeah.
that's my
So-
Bob top 40 moment.
I do want to
I'm
say I'll look at my Spotify statistics real quick. So just so anyone's curious, my top artists from the past 4 weeks: Supertramp, Eagles, Pink Floyd, the Beatles, Garbage, which is a really good 90s alternative band. If any of you haven't
James
listened
loves
to them.
Garbage.
I do love Garbage. Steely Dan, Kendrick Lamar, and Kanye West are my most recent in the past 4 weeks. So that's who I've been listening to.
I'm actually going to pull up some of my stats too, and I'm probably going to be embarrassed.
Yeah, you are. Probably.
How do I get? want to see if I can find tracks.
Bob is about to be completely disregarded in his
Oh,
music.
Lord.
taste.
Oh my God.
My top artists right now are for the last 4 weeks are the Beatles, Logic, Supertramp, Wings, Billy Joel, Eagle, Led Zeppelin, Bread, the Beach Boys, Paul McCartney, and the Police.
So I got my top 5 artists for the last 30 days. Sabrina Carpenter, 11D7, Icon for Hire, Miley Cyrus, and Taylor Swift.
Oh my god.
I'm actually very embarrassed by the Taylor Swift one, especially.
Oh my god. That makes
Well,
me ill.
But here's the thing, though.
It's like a
that's not-
visceral illness that I'm feeling right now.
the thing is, though, that is because of shit. What Reputation? Taylor Swift, is that what it's called? Oh shit! Now I can't even remember the name of the song. Delicate?
Are you talking about the album Reputation?
No, yeah, that's the album name. What's the track name? It's like one. Yeah, it's Delicate. Actually, I just clicked on that, and every single time that Taylor Swift was played, it was Delicate.
Okay.
It's just that song. And I'm gonna check it out, but I'm gonna bet Miley Cyrus was Party in the USA.
Oh no.
my god.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Party in the USA and Wrecking Ball?
Oh my god. All right. Well,
So Bob is a closeted 12-year-old girl. That's what we-
right. If you want the basic, pretty. Oh my god.
Excuse me, Bob. Just in the live chat, guys. We're not having a music podcast.
Yeah, this is why I don't have a music podcast.
Yeah, if you want basic and I don't even know.
And white
man.
girl.
Essential white girl music. Yeah.
Stop it.
Mhm.
Although I
This
guess
music
it
I
is your
listen to
last
in
time to harass me, so.
Yeah, this was the
Right.
music that I listened to in 5th grade. So
Yeah. And not by choice either.
not by choice. That's like the music they played in school.
On the radio. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next question. Airtime Mike wants to know, what do we want to see in the volcano plot?
I know what's
Ooh.
going in the volcano plot. No, I'm just kidding.
And that's why we can't do the show anymore. Goodbye, everyone. Volcano to me, I would love to see. I think an axis would be really cool.
That's what I want. I'm not gonna hit that. That's what I want. I mean, it'd be awesome. I think it's the only thing that fits perfectly there because it's something new and innovative. Like
Small
volcano
footprint
was.
too, right? Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm going to stick with the same thing I've been saying that will never happen. There's no chance of it. But literally, I still want to see a supersized Merlin's Mayhem.
And a Hyper GTX, right? Possibly a launched Hyper GTX.
I mean, I would definitely be okay with that. But an Axis is way up on my list as well. But here's the thing, like it has to be a launched coaster. Whatever it is, it has to be a launch. Like that's the main thing. The other thing that I think would be really great there is a new Vekoma flyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
with a
that
new Gershlower. Inverted version.
They have great capacity.
I think the flyer makes sense because there's not a flyer where like the closest flyer is what
Six
Great
Flags America.
Adventure.
Six Flags America, yeah, true.
Oh yeah,
Batman.
Batman.
And Carowinds.
I was thinking B&M, but yeah, that's true. I guess there is one there. Okay, so maybe not, but still, I mean, like seriously, like something like Fly would be phenomenal. Like,
And Bob wants to ride a Vekoma flying coaster.
there is that.
All right.
It definitely has to be launched though. That's the main
Yeah.
requirement. It has to be a launch. It has to be, and it has to be a good launch. None of this like Copperhead Strike launching stuff.
All right. Who
That's
wins
great
in a
because I was gonna say the state of Virginia just needs more launches.
Yeah,
That's what we
do.
need, truly. Thank you, Bush.
No, we have the
Gardens,
launch capital of the country. Yeah.
for that.
Who wins in a 3-way fight to the death?
Yeah.
Physical fight? Not me.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd come down to
All they
Timmy
have
and
to do
I.
is hit my head and
Timmy's too
I'll
nice.
die.
I feel like Timmy would
That's
feel
true.
bad.
Yeah. Say that now, and I'm cannibalizing you.
Timmy's eating us for capacity at Hershey Park.
Yes.
Right. I don't know.
I did take karate lessons.
When you were 12,
Yeah.
I boxed when I was 12 too. So maybe I don't know. Comes down to the
I don't
old
know. It definitely
boxing
would come
versus
down to
martial arts.
definitely would come down to the two of you.
Yeah,
I don't know though.
Bob will
Like,
literally just look at us and be like, "All right, I give up. I don't."
Maybe the
I'll
trick
die.
would be to befriend Bob and like make teams like the Hunger Games.
Bob, eat me real quick and gain energy. Gain XP. Cam said, "Should I spend my entire life savings at the Star Wars land when I go to Disney next week?"
why are you going to Disney?
Yeah, I know.
You should, yeah. I think you should buy a lightsaber. The cool Cal Kestis one that just came
Right,
out.
right. Even though those are pretty bad, I've heard they're pretty cheap and terrible.
The Disney dick has
Products.
spoken.
I actually have heard that there's a preferred non-Disney model that's actually, and what is it? I can't think of it right now.
There's a ton.
But there's no, I know there's a ton, but there's one that specifically that's like people love and think are much better than the Disney. Like when Disney unveiled their actual product, people were like, "This sucks. The other product is
Oh
better."
yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Cam
the-
just mentioned it's for a marching band trip. Which I gotta say,
okay.
man,
Was it Saber Forge?
honestly,
Mm.
enjoy yourself. I actually went on a marching band trip to
I don't
Disney.
know. I don't think it's Cyberforge.
Neo
And the-
Sabers?
I think it's AC lightsabers, maybe.
Okay.
Are you?
I don't know.
AC
I just-
lightsabers.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Don't enjoy yourself, Cam. Don't spend any money.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah, because spending money if you're at Disney, spending more money is what makes you more happy.
Yeah.
So if that's the
Um,
case, then you should go stay at the Galactic Star Cruiser and spend $6,000 because that's the most fun you'll have.
Honestly, out of my life, like one of the most memorable times that I had was actually when we went to march at Magic Kingdom for high school. That was such a phenomenal time for me. I loved it so much. So make sure you have a good time. Like, just don't even worry about buying stuff. Just
Yeah,
be
that's what
there
I was
with
gonna
your
say.
friends. Like, you're like, seriously, spend that time with your friends. Like,
No, wait, don't tell him that. Cam, if there is a cool Star Tours pin, please send me a photo of it. I will pay you back for it. But they are hard to find online. So.
Cam, please. I'm saying this
begging
with
you.
every fiber of my being. Do not send him any Star Wars pins. Star Tours pins, excuse me. Absolutely. Even if there's the coolest damn pin you've ever seen and you buy it, that's fine. You buy it. Actually, when you get back from Disney World, buy it and send a picture then. And make Timmy jealous.
It's my favorite
this
ride
is-
of all time.
This is interesting. A good question. This will be good morsel information for listeners that might be interested in going on trips and what travel agencies and whatnot to exploit. Most used airline for your theme park trips.
Oh, Bob, take it away, please. Just
Frontier.
go.
Frontier, yeah. I would say for us, Timmy and I actually use Breeze a lot.
Breeze and Southwest.
Southwest is often used, yeah. But I was also thinking along the vein like most used hotel service or lodging. So like I think we use Airbnb quite a bit.
We use Airbnb a lot, but you got to keep in
Um,
mind that there's a lot of fees on top of that. So keep
Right. That's what you got to do when you go to Airbnb. Filter by actual price, and then when you go through, if it's a lot of times it'll be plus $200 because of the fees. So just make sure when you're filtering by price, you're not just assuming that it's under $200 a night, so it'll be under $200 a night. That's also a kind of a need to know information. But Airbnb, if you find there are a lot of Airbnbs that will reduce a lot of fees and they don't have a lot of fees. If you can find some Airbnbs without the fees, you're normally crystal clear. You're normally good. And
But can I put my favorite little thing called an asterisk on that for you?
sure.
Here's the one thing that I want to mention though. Airbnb is not a good option if you're going with just one person.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Too. Like, it is really, really good if you have a group going, because you can save a lot of money by doing it that way. And I would far prefer that if I'm going with
And you're in your own house, you have your own rooms normally.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, but it is almost cost prohibitive if you're going by yourself, maybe two of you or something like that. So for that, because I do a lot of trips by myself, my recommendation is Wyndham Hotels. They're not the greatest hotels. They're not terrible though. And the thing about them is they tend to be really cheap, but you can also sign up for Wyndham Rewards, and then you can earn actually discounts and free nights if you do a lot of trips, it will actually pay back by those free nights. So that's what I do. I use Windham rewards, and that's like Super 8, La Quinta, Days Inn, like that chain.
That network, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's my recommendation for that. And Frontier flies there. But here's the thing with Frontier too: if you can pack all you need in a small backpack, you will not find a better price than Spirit or Frontier. But if you were somebody that needs to take a lot of stuff with you, you might find that Frontier and Spirit are actually not as good of a deal. So you kind of got to be careful on that. So I just want to clarify that.
Luggage.
Frontier was ridiculous. I can't believe Bob recommended that. You got to know what you're doing.
A couple day trip, it might make sense to go Frontier if you can pack it, like your clothes and all your park stuff in a bag.
When it comes to luggage, though, yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're going for a week, like to Florida or something, like
Southwest is great because you can often they give a free carry-on and a free overhead, which is great.
Yeah,
a lot of airlines don't do that.
Yeah.
A lot of airlines don't make you pay for any overhead. Yeah. So, yeah, that's our response.
Well,
to that
one more
question.
thing. One more thing. Bob, last time we were looking at getting a rental car, we learned that if you are a AAA member and you book with which car rental company
Hertz.
was it?
It was Hertz.
Hertz. If you are under the age of 25, so you have that 21 or that charge for
25
being
and under.
yeah, and you are a AAA member, you actually
They waive that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
I'd also want to. This is also worth saying: when you're searching for cars, Budget and Avis both do not give you all of the fees while you're searching. Hertz does. So if you're searching and comparing between Hertz and Budget, and
Keep in mind, yeah.
Hertz is more expensive, by the time you finish at checkout, you might find that Budget is actually more expensive. And I've actually found that quite a bit, which is why I've kind of started sticking with Hertz because they're really easy to work with if you join their gold. And
Don't get a Tesla.
yeah. The electric vehicles are problematic because I almost fell into that trap because they're the cheapest cars to rent right now, but oh no, it's not going to be pretty. But yeah, if you just are renting a sedan or a compact, don't roll out Hertz because the initial quotes are high. I think the only thing that they add after, whenever you do finalize the checkout, is the taxes, where Budget and Avis do all of the bullshit fees after you start the checkout process. So keep that in mind too.
Sure, yeah. Our next question is from Alex. What is y'all's most anticipated credit or park? I can answer this really quickly because I have a pretty anticipated one. I'm actually at credit number 399 right now. I don't know if I ever actually said that on the show yet. When we went to Dollywood last week, we actually got some mountain coaster credits. So I'm now up to 399. I specifically didn't ride another mountain coaster because I didn't want to make my mountain coaster 400. Not that I care that deeply about it, but I was like, let's make it something interesting. And I'm looking at possibly Airy Force, Wildcat's Revenge, or Pipeline being my 400th. So those three coasters are heavily anticipated for me because one of them will hopefully be my 400th coaster. Yeah. So those are the three for me.
What was the question? I forget. Sorry.
What is the most anticipated credit or park you have right now? Is there a park or credit that you're sought after?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a new credit, but I'm mostly looking forward to riding the new Grizzly.
Okay, yeah. It was really good. It's really good. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, that's what I'm mostly hyped about, to be honest.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really good.
Wildcat's Revenge is up there too, but I'm so excited for Grizzly. Gravity Group just doesn't.
Oh yeah, good night ride too. We got on a night ride, thankfully, and
it's great.
Great, it's running great.
For me personally, my number one bucket list coaster, it's at Hansa Park. It's a ride called Schwerda's Kärnan. It's just I've been so infatuated with this ride. It does something really unique and cool that I don't want to spoil for anybody if they're gonna ride it. But it does something that's super. I've heard it's got crazy theming. I've heard it's just as intense as I-305. It's Gerstlauter, and it does this really cool weird thing I don't want to spoil, but it looks really, really cool. So,
Very
if you look
unique.
up,
It's a very
if you
unique
look up a
ride.
lot of POVs, it cuts it out. So, but I've heard the ride is actually very intense. So, besides that, I also really want to get on Wild Garden. That ride looks awesome, and it's an RMC. So obviously, I want to ride it. I'm trying to get on all the RMCs in the world. So,
Because he's not only a Disney dick, but an RMC dick.
and a park I want to go to. Speaking of Disney, I really want to go to Disney, Tokyo Disney Sea or whatever it's
Tokyo
called.
Disney Sea.
I'm actually with you on that. That's one Disney
looks
park that I really would like
amazing.
to go to.
It does look very great. That is a Disney park where I definitely all in when that trip comes up. Airtime Mike said, "Who was the best coaster idiot to have ever been on the podcast?"
Well, dang it, Ryan was supposed to be on, but
Yeah, I know. It would have been El Toro Ryan, but I'll give it to Airtime Mike.
But by default, it has to be Airtime
it
Mike.
has to be.
congrats.
He also said, when you go to sleep tonight, how often do you think, man, Airtime Mike is such an amazing person and someone who I adore. Life without him does not exist.
Well, I just think
happens.
I
Except
just
he
think,
never
wow,
logs onto Discord so I can talk to him.
Right, yeah.
that's why I'm always thinking about him. Yeah,
He's never
I-
on Discord. Get
I'm
on
always
Discord,
thinking, man,
Mike.
he's so humble.
It's because he's on all the platforms that I don't go on. I don't like. Come on, Mike.
Just
Get off
Instagram,
Instagram.
really.
Get
That's
off
it. It's just
Instagram.
Instagram.
We need to have an all night episode of Side Friction with Airtime Mike.
The modest Airtime Mike, yes. And then his serious question is, are you guys excited for Spike Dragster? I don't know if
kind of indifferent.
excited is the right word, but curiously awaiting is the right word. Probably. Like,
I'm excited
curious.
for the ride for Dragster to be open for that park to feel complete again. I don't know if I'm so much as excited just for it to have a spike now. I know my friend is the biggest Top Thrill Dragster supporter of the time. He will not stop shutting up about that ride, and he's like, at first I was upset, but he's like, think about it. Every single ride now is going to be a rollback. It's going to be awesome.
Right.
Um,
There's pros and cons looking back at it.
I mean, really seriously, like a lot of it is going to depend on what it actually is.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm curiously,
yeah.
I'm really, really interested and invested in what we see as the end product. And right now, there's all this speculation, but yeah, that's truly what I'm looking forward to the most is what we're gonna see, the technology involved. We got a question: are you guys still going to volunteer and talk to Steve Amos and give kids the world? So we haven't had the opportunity to volunteer there in a minute, but I mean I imagine if we go back down for a week in Florida, I really would like to volunteer. That's such a great cause.
Hey, why did we go to the beach actually?
Why yeah, but it's such a great cause. It's such a great purpose. Such a great mission statement, and Stephen
I
Amos
agree.
is a great guy. So definitely not going to stop supporting that project whatsoever. I love what they do down there. It's
I
great.
absolutely love what they do as well. It's awesome what they do down there. I think that anyone that has the chance definitely should stop by if they get the chance.
Airtime Mike, another question. How many times have you guys been close to going to sleep on a live stream? I think we even did an episode, I'm just going to say real quick, called like the Sleepless Verse of Madness, because that was like when Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness came out. And I just used that title because Timmy and I were so exhausted one time we were recording the show.
Oh, Bob was going actually insane.
Lunatic. He was going
he was
crazy.
like swiping at things that weren't there.
Wait, which
Right.
one was that?
That was the Sleepless Verse of Madness, that episode. You can probably go back and find it real quick in the archive, but
I don't actually even remember it.
yeah, it was incredible. Timmy and I were like falling asleep, but Bob was like tired. He was like being loony.
Yeah, Bob was like swiping at spider webs, I think he was saying, or something that
Yeah.
weren't there.
He's like, "Do you guys see that?"
Oh, jeez.
So yes, there have been so many episodes where we've been exhausted, but we pushed through. We persevered and made it. We also had a question: what is the worst park experience that you've ever had? And I don't want to go as far as, in my opinion, real quick. I don't want to go as far as to say it's the worst park experience I've ever had, but one of the most disappointing is I went to Six Flags New England, and I think I've said this on the show before, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but one of the worst experiences I had was at Six Flags New England because I went to the park, and for the last like 2 or 3 hours of operation, the park was closed due to a storm in the area, and I was on the radar for the last 2 hours of that park's operation, and there was absolutely no storm within a 40, 50-mile radius of the park. And it was really upsetting to me. It like sprinkled for like 30 minutes maybe. But outside of that, the storm was never really in the vicinity of the park. And I was really upset. Like I had to talk to some associates and they were like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't know why we're closed. Like, it doesn't make sense either. So yeah, that was a frustrating experience for me. I won't say it was awful and, screw Six Flags New England. I don't want to go that far. But that was really disappointing to me because, I was really hoping for some Wicked Cyclone and Superman Night Rise and really was looking forward to experiencing that park at night. And I didn't get that opportunity because of that.
In my case, I will actually say F them. It's worst park experience ever, right? Just making sure I got the question right.
I'm taking my bets now. It's Great Adventure.
No,
it is.
Oh,
what is it?
You know it.
Yeah, I do know it.
I know you know it.
I know it.
But you don't know it.
I can't say I can't think of the name of the park. There's so many different names for it, though. Worlds of Adventure.
Yep, exactly. Six Flags Worlds of Adventure. Honest to God, and this is absolutely not a joke. It was so bad, I did not go to another Six Flags park for 17 years. That is how horrible that experience was. I had no interest in ever going back to a Six Flags park.
Yeah.
It took 17 years for me to cave on that. It was so horrible. And the whole problem was they succeeded. They got people in the door and they didn't know what to do with them.
Too many.
Oh my God, the size of the park, like the two parks combined, like you just walked. There's so much walking. It was like between the two park, where SeaWorld used to be, like it wasn't just like a short walk. Like they literally built a bridge across the lake and you had to walk across the bridge lake. Oh my God. And the lines were ridiculous. And no joke, you waited like 2 or 3 hours in traffic trying to get into the park because the infrastructure around the park was so bad. It was, oh my God, it was so bad. It was so bad. Such a horrible experience. It didn't help that Geauga Lake was at the time, my favorite park. I love Geauga Lake so much. And it was bad.
I'm trying to think of one particularly that I had. I mean, I had also an experience like James where I traveled and it shut down. Like I went to Kennywood. Thank goodness I had 2 days planned on that trip for Kennywood. But the first day got rained out. And then it was rain in the morning and then it stopped raining at like maybe 11 or 12 ish, and it didn't rain. They were supposed to be open until like 8 or 9 and they closed early and they didn't reopen. And I'm like, wow, I'm really glad I planned an extra day at this park because and then they're like, oh, we'll give you an extra ticket. And it's like, oh, well, I already freaking bought 2 tickets to the park online. So that stunk.
Here's a little bit of travel advice though for Kennywood. If you guys are in the Kennywood area, go to Giant Eagle and get a ticket there because it's much reduced price too. I wouldn't buy it online because I know at Giant Eagle, I've gotten tickets for like $20-$30 below the online sale price.
Yeah. So. Yeah. If you look out for that, Kennywood is not an expensive park. If you look for the deals, it really isn't. And also like, I would agree. I have Kennywood. When was that, Timmy? Was that like just like a few years ago?
2018, I think.
Yeah.
It was still current opening year. Was that 2018, 2019?
2019. Yeah.
2019. Yeah. Which, yeah, it's been a few. Yeah, that whole range until like last year, Kennywood was horrible. Like I not Worlds of Adventure bad, but I had some really, really bad experiences at Kennywood. But it's a different park now. It is such a different park, especially in the last year, maybe 2.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Yeah,
I will say, worst I've ever felt at a theme park though was James knows this. Traveling from California, we landed in LA. For some reason, we did not land in San Francisco. That would have made too much sense. We landed in LAX and then did this like 7-hour drive on I-5 from LAX up to San Francisco to go to Discovery Kingdom. And so we slept. We got an Airbnb. We did not expect it to take like 4 hours to get the rental car because it's LAX. So it's
it was awful.
The line like wrapped around the
building. The plan was we landed at like 8 or 9 or something. And we're gonna drive up and hopefully get back at like 1 or 2 in the morning, right? Get up there at 1 or 2 in the morning. and sleep until like 9 or 10. Like that's pretty reasonable, good amount of sleep.
But we
And
did
it was
not.
because LAX was so cheap. Like it was cheaper to find LAX by a significant margin.
Right.
Like we looked at flying into San Francisco. But
But
yeah, we
we-
were like, oh, this makes sense. We'll drive up and we'll get there a little late, but we'll still have some time to sleep. 8 or 9 hours.
But we drive all the way up, and I think we got to the Airbnb. I think we slept 30 minutes. I think it was actually 30 minutes at the Airbnb. The biggest waste of money we've ever had probably is booking that Airbnb.
I don't think it was 30 minutes, but it was like
It was like
an hour or two.
Yeah, it was at most.
We got there like 5 or 6, and we woke up at like 8 for the park or
we
something
got
like
there.
that.
We got there when the sun was up, I believe.
Yeah.
And we get there. We go and we to Discovery Kingdom, and of course we ride the free spin. And nobody knew about the other side of the free spin line. So there was a long line for it, but nobody knew about the other side. So they're like, "Do you want to ride again? Do you want to ride again? Do you want to ride again?" After we're sleep deprived, I am like so exhausted, and I think it was like 6 or 7 rides in a row. I literally was so close to throwing up. I've never felt so ill in my life. And then
Well,
we
I don't know.
rent.
What about Six Flags Over Texas?
Oh yeah, that was a different kind of ill though. That was a bottle of Fireball kind of ill. But this was honestly worse. This was a much worse kind of illness, and because after those rides, I feel like I'm up. So we rode the Giant Discovery.
Timmy was not having this Six Flags day.
And then we went.
Or some might say he was. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I think we went and slept in the car, and that was the best thing we've
Yeah.
ever done. That was
And we went to
awesome.
In-N-Out too.
Oh, don't get me started, please. Oh my god.
All right. Next question. In 10 years, is there going to be a podcast throwback shirt? That's from Pam.
In 10
No.
years.
Right. I don't know why that was the specific range that she gave us, but
Man, 10 years.
10 years.
That's twice as long as the show.
I know. Maybe 5 years. Oh,
Oh, and look at Airtime Mike here is going off about Timmy riding a free spin multiple times.
I felt obligated to because there's such a long line for it.
Dude, I rode the One and Great Adventure for 2 hours straight without leaving it. Like
Yeah.
literally sat on
you
it.
probably sat on that for like 45 minutes. What I will
That was a
say
marathon right there.
with regard to the future of this podcast, nothing's concrete. Who knows 10 years where we're at? Maybe we'll do a throwback shirt. Maybe we'll do a reunion episode. If we're at a place where that's an option, like who knows what we'll do.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of too far out to even gauge, what we'll do. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it open ended because I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we can predict on that. Man,
Right.
who knows what's going to happen 10 years? Who
I know.
knows? 7
Who
years,
knows?
maybe Coaster Talk will be a thing again. I don't know.
Right.
I mean,
We have no clue what happens. Yeah.
Maybe we pull a Coaster Radio season 3 and come back for season 4. I don't know. I mean, they left season 3 saying "see you later, folks," and then season 4 happened 5 years later. Who knows?
And
I
now
mean,
Mike
if
is singing
Timmy
about the
gets
And now they've
fired-
been going on for 15 years. So I mean, I don't know, really.
seriously, if Timmy gets fired, anything's possible.
That's right.
Maybe. Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to do this podcast again, I don't want that to happen.
Mike said, "Who's coming to the Airtime Mike Hollywood Nights house to party Friday night?" Which with that, I will say, Mike, you need to be coming to the Drunk Riders
Drunk
Buzz
Riders.
Bars Coaster Club house. That's where we're gonna be partying.
I will be providing Tumbili Lagers and Grizzly IPAs. That's going to be the place to be. I'm telling you that right.
Yeah, that's
No,
gonna be
no
great.
Twisted Tea.
No
What?
twisted teas.
No.
Did we ever
Fireball,
actually
though.
talk about that on the show?
I don't know.
The
Did we?
shindig.
I don't know if we did.
I don't know either.
I think
but
we did. I think we did. Yeah, I think we did.
just to a quick fill in, Buzz Bars was they were doing this
Stumble 325.
So we decided to hit them at their own game and troll them,
April
and we
Fool's
came up
joke.
with Shindig 325, which is Shindig is I didn't know this, but Shindig is actually what is it? It's some kind of tea party type thing.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
and I think in Britain they call their gathering for tea shindig. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did Shindig 325. We actually copied the logo they had on their shirts, and we all made the shirts and actually wore them to their their own event. which was awesome. That was a really good time.
The reason why we did that was because I believe Gabby Gomes or whatever her name is, what the person who designed the logo, was upset that people were like copying her style and her logos.
Right.
So we literally
No. It was like they were what it was, and that's part of it. But they were like bot accounts that were like taking their merchandise and posting them to other POS, point of sales.
That's
and
right.
People, and they were like really getting upset.
So to be clear, we weren't selling these shirts to people.
Right.
We just made them for ourselves.
We custom made them for ourselves.
But
I went in and I literally just edited the Buzz Bars logo, made it a teapot, like which
is why we did Buzz Bars. We did the T-bars from like the Intamins to compare with the Buzz Bars. It was great.
It was a great gag.
That's actually a really good. That's actually one of my top moments of like coaster talk.
Yeah, that was great.
That was actually a really good time.
We showed up to Marcus's house, and it was great. Grizzly, thoughts on Grizzly is Airtime Mike's other question.
Sucks. It's so bad. It's so smooth now. I hate it.
Yeah, no, it's glass. It's so great. The first half is amazing. The second half still has the obviously the old track, so it's gonna get shaky up a little bit. But I still I loved it then, and I still love it now.
Yes, I agree. I think it's kind of cool. Honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to like feel that transition from that prefabricated Gravity Group track to the old.
I think it might have been West that called that almost like an element of some sort. Like
right.
It's almost like the transition is so crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's so different, so unique.
Because all of a sudden it's just like you get jackhammered again. And it's awesome. So.
Right, and I love the first half, but the second half's just as great. And I think it closes the ride out perfectly. So I think the ride overall is being executed well.
And I'm highly anticipating it. So like,
although I will say, the general public are still not accepting it as they're like, oh, it should be all glass smooth now.
Right.
Because I guess I can say it now that I said it. I've been asking guests because I've been an operator, and they're like, oh, I'll be on the mic. I'm like, have you guys ridden Grizzly yet? What do you think of Grizzly? And everyone's like, it sucks. I have a headache from it still. I hate it. It made me it's so rough. Like.
I think from some of the things
exactly.
From some of the things that I've seen, it sounds like they should have done a full retrack rather than leaving some of the old track there.
They should have done a full retrack, or even like there are for the most part the transition like over the Airtime Hill and into that turnaround aren't bad, but there's some moments like where that could have been just like a small retrack, not necessarily a full retrack, but gone in and just little segments of high stress areas could have been changed out. That would have been great. But I think it's still overall a great ride. So, what's the nerdiest fact that you know but you shouldn't? That's a question we got.
I know the names for every single proximity sensor on Team Beely. Ask me why.
Okay.
I mean,
I know how many meters per second Intimidator goes through different blocks. I mean,
I know how many. I know the second, like the ride count for seconds in terms of seconds for Twisted. It should be between 46 seconds and about 52 seconds. If there's anything more or less than that, you are fucked.
Yeah, we know plenty of nerdy things. So
I know the solenoid valve proxy switch should not be active on Twisted, and if it is, probably.
Yeah, I know the air pressure. What the air pressure has to be for the brakes and the gates on Reptilian.
Right.
I think one of my favorite facts is that Leap the Dips was refurbished by a furniture company, not by a roller coaster company.
That's similar to how Tower of Terror. Yeah, with the elevator company.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But I mean, that even makes a little more sense than like
the furniture company. At least emulating an emulator.
The more you think of it, like the furniture company does make sense, but at face value, it's like it's weird.
Although it is kind of weird to get an elevator company to make a ride to do an elevator
to do exactly what they don't want it to do. Yeah.
Right. I know that the centripetal force of a roller coaster prevents it from exiting at a curve by continuously making it change the direction towards its center of rotation, which in turn means that the back row is predominantly more of a intense ride experience, hopping over that airtime hill. Yeah, it provides more airtime. Right.
This does not apply to Candemonium.
That was from my physics teacher.
And this does not apply to Candemonium, though. Candemonium does not apply to physics. Does not apply to Candemonium. So.
Physics does not. It is broken the laws of physics. everyone, ladies and gentlemen.
B&M figured out how to do it finally. It's the booster launch on the airtime hill.
That every other PM has.
I'm not going to do a full argument, but I am going to say that does discount the entrance of the airtime hill where it's reversed.
The inverted airtime hill.
No,
That's what RMC calls it.
I'm not. I'm not going into this discussion.
Okay,
Just
next question we got.
Candemonium is
do-
better in the front.
Okay. Do you think there's any difference between the availability of high intensity coasters in the United States versus in Europe?
Yes. I think the US has much more intense coasters, but I think the Europe has much better themed coasters.
Right. Yeah, I'd say quality is of concern in Europe. They'll go as far as to theme a kiddie coaster to this, mythical world, as opposed to over here it's more about the thrill, it's more about the adrenaline, it's more about
Right.
let's make the biggest, the fastest, the tallest. That seems to captivate the Americans more than in Europe. You go to Europe and it's all about let's make sure that they
Tell a
are
story with these
enthralled
rides.
in the story that we have at
Of
this
course,
park.
that's an American thing. Look at our cars.
Right.
Like-
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a mindset
yeah.
in America.
I do wish that. I mean,
Bigger is always better, right? That's the American saying, and that that's not always
that's
true in
the
Europe.
thing. Like, if you think about it, like that's what Velocicoaster really hit on. It does both.
Right. Yeah. I think that's what it did so well.
That's what's so incredible about that.
And that's why people from like other countries, foreigners will come over to our country and ride and be like, wow, it's thrilling and it themes well. It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Right.
And
yeah.
and it really is. I mean, I really like if you took all of the theming away from Velocicoaster, it would still be a really good ride, but it would not. I don't know if it would be top 10 for me. Maybe. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, the theming
The
is really
is so important to
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
it's so
I agree.
crucial to that ride experience. Yeah, so next question we got was airtime Mike. This is his last question. We're visiting Kings Island Thursday before Hollywood Nights, and we're leaving at 4:30 to go see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Was this the right move?
No.
No, I disagree. I think that's a good move. Into the Spider-Verse was a really great movie, and I think Across the Spider-Verse is going to be great as well. For those of you that don't know, that's the animated Spider-Man movies that they came out with. I think the first one was in 2019, 2018, something like that. And yeah, it was a great film. So I think it's a good move. We'll see though.
Yeah, but you can watch it anytime.
Yeah, but you could go to Kings Island anytime.
Yeah, but if you're on a trip for parks, why would you cut the Kings Island, the park short to go watch?
Because they've probably all
movie
been to
that you could
Kings
watch when you get
Island
back home?
so many times.
Well, here's the thing that I'm going to say. I don't care what you do about the movie. Just make sure you stop at Skyline Chili outside of the park.
Not in the park, outside.
Not in the park.
It's crucial. That's a
Outside the
crucial
park.
detail.
Because inside the park is not as good as it used to be. But outside the park, still damn good. Chili
And then
spaghetti
next year they're going to get rid
man.
of the licensing agreement with
They
Skyline Chili
probably will.
altogether. Probably.
Oh my god, that'll be well.
That'll be a
Yeah,
discussion
that'll be sad.
side friction.
Yeah, we'll touch on that on Side Friction apparently.
Last question we got. If Six Flags were the ones to have Veli instead, what would they name it?
To have what?
Veli? Velly. I'm not sure what that is. Did they mistake did they make a typo? I'm not sure. That one.
Velocicoaster.
Velocicoaster. Okay. They corrected themselves. Velocicoaster.
So what was the question again? If they had
If Six Flags were the ones to have Velocicoaster, what would they name it?
Superman, Goliath.
Goliath.
Ah, man.
It'd probably be Dinosaurs Alive. I'm just kidding.
Dinosaurs alive.
Right? I don't know. Or what was there? Didn't Six Flags do a dinosaur experience or something? I feel like they did
I
something.
feel like they did something, but I can't
like
remember
yeah.
what it was.
I can't remember it either. I want to look it up. Dinosaur Train, maybe? That might have been it.
They did a drive-through.
Right, okay. They did a similar Dino Off-Road Adventure. That's what it would be
Yeah.
called. That's what it would be called. Oh my god, that's great.
Sponsored by Takis.
Yeah, sponsored by
I could go for
Takis.
some Takis right now. And some
Oh,
In and
man.
Out.
All right, and that does it for our questions from audience.
That's sad. I was really hoping that would get drawn out even longer, to be honest.
Does it
Yeah.
from the users. We still have the weekly poll, which was which park has had the best 2023 edition. We had Alex respond to that question, if I'm not mistaken. Did he ever? He said that the best edition was he redacted his original statement. He said it was the Batman at the park in Madrid, right? The
Oh,
Intamin
the
multi-launch.
Velocity. Or you mean Velocicoaster in Six Flags?
Yeah, I mean Veli.
Yeah, sorry.
So that was Alex's response. Now let's go to the audience on our social medias that responded. Airtime Mike responded, said Grizzly, but he's joking because that's not a new credit. And he said Air Force One. And he said it literally gave people a reason to go to Fun Spot Atlanta. Yeah, that's a good take. That does look like a great addition. I've heard nothing but great things about that ride.
Same.
I'm looking forward to getting on that.
I am
Yeah.
too.
Maybe my
James
400th, possibly.
James needs to hurry up and get on it so I have an excuse to go there and ride it.
Asterix, Park Asterix. Whoa, I'm confused.
Park Asterix responded.
No, Park Asterix. It did not respond. I think somebody misinterpreted the question. They said Tortalis, Gotham, which I think is the Batman ride he was talking about, and Pipeline, and Big Bear Mountain. That's a lot. That's a lot to respond to. So the two are in Europe, two are in the United States. Big Bear Mountain was really good, I will say. I thought that was a really good ride. It was a really good ride, really good family coaster. Really filled that kind of, I think that gap that Bob talked about Cedar Point having, where there's like no mid-range coaster for the families. It filled for Dollywood, because Dollywood's kind of in the same boat a little bit. You had Fire Chaser Express, I guess, but outside of that, I feel like there wasn't really a step up coaster.
What is the height requirement for Big Bear? Do you know?
I want to say it was like 46, maybe.
I am on
44
now.
See, that 46 is too. I mean, it's better than 48. 39, awesome. That's awesome.
Okay, never mind.
See, I think that's exactly where you should be for family coasters.
See, Millennium Force would be a perfect coaster for kids, except it's just, I'm sure the height requirement's too tall. Because there's no real forces on that ride.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing about Cedar Point is you literally graduate from Woodstock Express and Wilderness Run to Millennium Force. There's nothing in between. There's literally nothing in between.
Right.
As far as height requirements go.
And Cam also responded with Pipeline, so let's talk about Pipeline a little bit, maybe. We never really got to talk about Pipeline much on the show. So when we talked about it before it opened, we were kind of curious, like, is this really a stand-up coaster? Because we saw that image where that guy was, had his legs fully extended, and people were like, oh, this might just be more like a sit-down ride. You're not actually going to be standing that much. But it turns out it is a stand-up coaster, but the airtime is actually what causes you to kind of lift out of your seat with that spring loaded in the back, where it actually like extends the seat up, and you kind of come out of your seat with some airtime. So it's this new phenomenon people calling standing airtime, which I've heard people call some like ejector airtime on some really great rides like El Toro and stuff, standing airtime. But this is the literally standing airtime. Literally standing airtime.
If that's the case, then FLY has lying airtime.
Honestly, that was always one of my things. Like the Togo stand-ups, I always thought did more of a airtime fill than the B&Ms. B&Ms just they seem to focus on forces or like down like positive G's rather than any kind of negative, and that's one thing I really love. I mean, aside from I thought the Togo restraints were far better. They also made it a point to have at least some airtime moments in them.
I don't know, Shockwave wasn't really an airtime coaster, I feel like.
It was the oddball out. I mean, of the three Paramount stand-ups, it was the weakest. Skyrider, I think, was the best, and King Cobra was close behind.
Okay.
Shockwave was definitely not. It was. I still really liked Shockwave, but it wasn't on the same level as the other two, I think.
Right. We got a response from the UK Park Squad, who said, out of what they've experienced so far, Curse at Alton Manor or Valhalla 2.0. So Curse at Alton Manor is a new dark ride at Alton Towers. That does look pretty great. And then Valhalla 2.0 is that new water ride at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, I believe. Valhalla was a really popular water ride prior to this refurbishment that it underwent, and seems like it's obviously successful. 'Cause it's an Intamin, I want to say, an Intamin water ride. But I'm not sure. I'm gonna look real quick to be honest. But Blackpool. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that ride. Yeah, it was an Intamin dark water ride, dark flume/water dark ride. I've heard nothing but good things about Valhalla though. I've heard that's a really good ride. So I hope obviously the refurbishment went well.
I don't know that I can. I'm not really up on European stuff, so sorry, I can't really address the question.
Timmy, nothing.
Or
Or the comment. I can't really comment on it.
I mean, I definitely not Valhalla. It gets you wet, so I'll go with
Okay.
Curse of the Alton Towers.
All right, and then lastly, we got a response from Pierce, who said Aeronautica landing at Carowinds. Overall was the best addition. He said since you guys didn't specify ride, which is
It is a
fair.
really nice area. I've been there. It's cool.
Freaking Boo Blasters is in the way.
I know. It really,
It sucks though. There's no Plants vs
You
Zombies
know,
anymore.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna address this to end the show here. What the Cedar Fair parks fail at is what we just talked about with Europe. Yes, they do have certain areas where they segment off and theme really well, but they're not at all captivating because you go from Boo Blasters to this really great themed area back into, the damn jukebox diner next to Hurler. I mean, like if you ever get the chance to go to Europe, I'm telling you, you'll come away like those parks are just like even Busch Gardens Williamsburg doesn't compare. Like they all pale in comparison to the European parks. Fantasyland, Portaventura, Europa Park, all those parks are like echelons above.
Except for Energylandia.
So you're saying
Energylandia
Europe
is
does
it,
Europe
Energylandia.
better than Busch Gardens?
It's not even just
Busch
Europe, but like
Gardens,
Fantasyland
that
does
was
every
a joke.
country. It's amazing. It's really just, and that's what I mean. Like, yes, you'll go to Aeronautica Landing, and I'm sure it's decent, but like coming away and then like walking right next to Boo Blasters is like, it's just goofy. It's just an oddball mix, and it just doesn't, at least to me, really, and it doesn't translate well. So that's what's my problem with that. And
I don't know,
Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon universe sucks. I'm sorry. The end of story. That's the last thing I'll say on theming. It's not themed well. I don't know what the hell.
And I'll just say James is wrong.
The status quo will remain true throughout the show. Up until our very end, the bitter end. Bob and I disagree on that. All right, and yeah, that does it for our weekly poll this week. And that does it for that pretty much does it for the show. There is no weekly poll next week. If there is one, try to answer what the weekly poll next week should be. That'll be our last one as for the lulls. I hate saying that, but yeah. I'm not even gonna do the conclusion this week because there's no purpose. There's no plugins
There's
here.
nothing to. I mean,
I will say if
guess
you want to grab any last minute merchandise, you can go to cushtalkpodcast.com/shop. That we'll keep the store up for a little bit. For anybody that wants some throwback merch,
should we do a final shirt?
maybe. Yeah, that's something we'll update you guys on.
Well, like, maybe keep an eye out.
Yeah. So follow. Oh my God. Follow us on our social medias for that one.
Yeah. And I guess I can say check out sidefriction.com and keep an eye out there for when we get the new podcast up.
And real quick, I do want to do some plugins, not for social media or for our website or anything, but I want to thank Mike Collins from Costa Radio for doing our intro for so many years. I want to thank him for being the first guest on our show ever. I want to thank Christopher Warner for designing the beautiful logo and artwork that we use for our show. I want to thank, the Drunk Riders have been a great support. They've come on, they've talked about our show on theirs. They've plugged us in their Discord before. And I want to thank the audience. For 5 years, you guys have been there, responding to polls and interacting with our show, and obviously that's what has meant the most to all of us. So really, this is upsetting because we're going to be losing you guys. Obviously, Bob has side friction, so hopefully some of you guys will hop over there.
Yes, we
But
encourage
that's what's so
Yeah.
bittersweet about this is
And-
that
I don't foresee Timmy and James being strangers to side friction either. So
Right, yeah,
hopefully we'll
I'll
have them
talk-
on as a guest here and there.
I'll talk to the brand activation manager at King's Dominion to make sure it's okay. I met her the other day. Her name's Amy.
I mean, parks do guest appearances, so
They do.
uh,
If we get a new attraction, I'll make sure to put you guys on the media list.
awesome. Oh man, there's some good news.
One thing I do want to say though before we end the show is I just want to reemphasize to thank every single. I mean, I speak for all of us. You guys, the community has been the absolute best part of this show.
you guys have been
Just-
paramount in why we do this.
just getting the responses from you guys, getting tweets, interacting on social media, interacting with weekly people. It's been surreal that you guys just sit here, idiots, talk about roller coasters in the community. It makes it really special for all of us. So we just want to, you guys have been really an instrumental part in this just chapter of our lives in general, not just the show, but in our lives. So we want to thank.
Yeah, yeah, really seriously. I love the community. Absolutely love the community. You guys are awesome. It's still amazes me that so many people listen to us talk. I don't know. I'm gonna miss it. I mean, from the time that I got on tonight, I literally it was just there's even the things that you guys don't see, when the three of us get on before we start the show, we're usually talking, we're joking, and it's we're friends and we're always going to be friends. We're going to be in each other's lives, but there's a difference when you have to see everybody every week. It's I have to recognize that lives are changing and I'm not going to see them every week, and it's tough, but even those moments before we start recording and the live chat, just joking around with the people that are there, I miss it. I miss it already.
and the past the past 5 years, Thursdays to me have become synonymous with podcast night. It's just gonna be
Yeah.
difficult. My mind is always gonna be embedded that way. It's Thursday night, I have to do my podcast. And it's gonna be so foreign to be sitting there on Thursday night and not be sitting behind my desk.
Even my customers at work know that Thursday is my podcast night. That's just the way it was. It's just the way it's been, and it's not.
I'm trying to stay
I know.
untouched during the show. Good mood. Ooh.
Come on, Timmy, say a pun or something.
I know.
I know I can barely bear it.
Oh my god.
You have to come ride Grizzly.
Yeah. Big Bear. Oh, fuck.
Oh, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it, guys.
I don't either. I know.
Oh. Okay, well it's been a absolute blast the past 5 years. We've made so many friends, encountered so many different ideas and concepts, and because I want to say outside of the podcast, we've met so many different people and explored so many different avenues that we wouldn't have had the opportunity to if this podcast hadn't have been here to provide us this. This podcast grew into such a bigger network than it initially was. It was initially me and my goofball friends, and now we have amassed I'm not touting stats here, but 50,000 downloads. We've gotten so many listeners, so many different people from so many different walks of life, and it's been great to assimilate this kind of great community that we have, and we've built up such a great foundation here. And I don't want you guys to think that it was all in vain. It was a great 5 years. It was a great time. Like Timmy said, it was a chapter of our lives that will never be forgotten.
No, never.
This was not a side project for us. This was a lot of all three of us. It was at one point one of the biggest factors of our lives. Outside of family and school, possibly jobs. It was the biggest facet of our lives. So, I mean, people know me in school and elsewhere. You do a podcast, right, about roller coasters? That's such a niche thing. Like everyone knows that about me. That's such a different and unique thing that people know me for, and it sucks to be calling it an end here. I'm not going to. We're gonna keep going all night.
You'll still see us around in the parks, and we'll be.
Our enthusiasm for roller coasters has not dissipated.
No,
through this.
No,
This is
definitely
so
has.
if anything, it's grown. It's been fostered by this. We are essentially, Timmy and I have even joked, like, we have been forced and subjugated to the news each week because of this show. I wouldn't have been so enthralled in the news each week if it wasn't for this show. I'm so deep in there, like, oh, here we know specific little parks are doing this and that because of this podcast. I mean,
that's something actually I kind of want to say, and it's kind of hopefully Steph is okay with me saying this, but I was having a conversation with her when we were talking about the podcast, and she had said something. She's like, something to the effect of where, like, she's really enthusiastic about coasters, but she doesn't really know a lot. And like it was like it really took me back to when I actually joined this podcast. And I mean, it's kind of funny. We touched upon it on episode 200, but like when I was like, what was it I said? Alan Shoke. Oh, Alan Shoke did Big Bad Wolf, or
Big Bad Wolf.
Loch Ness Monster. That's what it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it's really like, I think over the years, like back then I had no clue. And
Bob
now
and I
it's
both
like,
grew in our and Timmy as well grew in our understanding of the community and the industry.
yeah, and it's like it's
via this podcast.
unreal. It's unreal, the stats and the things that I know. Like, people ask me, and I can just say, like, off the top of my head, like, oh yeah, that's this.
Yeah.
And like it's amazing. It's been,
And we can I mean, based on like the stories that we followed, we can tell the chronology of the industry up from like 2017 till now. Like, we followed all these stories. We could tell you, like, oh yeah, this was happening at Disney in 2017, and now this is how Disney's
speak for yourself. I don't remember what we recorded last week, but
there are definitely some asterisks there. I mean, there are some definite, but like overarching stories. We can tell the story of the industry over the past 5-6 years, and that's incredible. This really has channeled a lot of information to us, and that's also a major benefit of the show. And it's sad that that's no longer going to be something that I still look and follow the news as much as possible, but having this podcast really almost made it a requirement. I had to know everything, and that absence of is going to be missed greatly.
yeah. Man, just think about it. Like, it's gonna be weird when I read a news story and like, I don't have to.
where do I put it?
Discord channel.
Yeah. Like, let me think of like what are the points I want to make on the show about this?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's weird. Like, that just hit
And
me.
going to
literally,
parks
like,
no longer, like Timmy and I are so used to like going to, and Bob as well, when you're with us, we go to parks and we try to record like a trip report or something at the parks. That's no longer going to be integral in our park trips anymore. Yeah, there's just a lot that we're going to be missing out on.
Yeah, it's really a huge change for all three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're gonna have to say it.
Yeah, we're gonna miss and love every one of you. Even if you never even hopped in the live chat and said anything, and if you just have been listening from a distance and never really felt the need to interact with us, and you've been a listener for 2 months, 2 years, whatever, we love and we'll miss every one of you, and we thank you guys all for listening to this week and to the past 5 years of Coaster Talk podcast. With that, I've been James Barber.
I've been Bob Mertz.
And I've been Timmy.
And with that, we bid you adieu.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys for everything.
Bye.
Oh, man. thank you guys for joining the live stream.
Yeah.
It's, like it really, I'm so glad to see like so many people actually came and hopped on and
Yeah, we had up to 15 consecutive visitors at once. That's like the most since
Besides when I
Dark
leaked Dark
Coaster,
Coaster,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it means a lot. It really does mean a lot. Oh, Todd Joseph, like I guarantee you, like that's gonna be like that's the unifying hatred. Like that part will definitely carry through to side friction. All right. Well.
Oh man.
Yeah, I guess we should end the stream. Unless anybody wants to say anything.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to say that I started this, like I said, with Bob and Timmy on the show, kind of as, you know, I don't want to say it wasn't a joke, but it was like, it was something I was exploring. I didn't realize what it would become. I wanted to do a podcast, but I wasn't sure how successful I'd be. I didn't know if it would last a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I wasn't overtly committed to it at that time. And like I said, episode 7 kind of changed things for me. And I really started getting really serious about it. And I eventually would um, dissolve Mega Coaster Review into Coaster Talk and have Bob on and whatnot. And that's really when we got serious about it too. Every week I wanted, a show every week, Thursdays, whatever. We would record and release, sometimes we changed our release date. It was from Sundays to Mondays, back to Sundays. But I never realized how like integral in my life this would become, and how big of a deal in the community it would become. And outside of that, yeah, I just wanted to note that because you guys are the ones that made that possible. You guys are the ones that validated that and made it actually something more than just me talking to the void of the internet. And so I appreciate and love each and every one of you. So
Yeah,
I really
you
do mean
guys,
that.
you guys that joined the live stream, like you were
You're like the
you were
backbone.
an extra high. Like, I mean, it's
Because
like
even like I used to join Coaster Radio's live streams real quick, and then sorry, I didn't mean to, but
Yeah,
like
no,
I used
that's
to join theirs, and like they'd have 5 or 6 people in there too talking every once in a while. But like even like they're a huge show, and they only have like about the same amount of listeners at the live stream that we have, and that's just amazing to me that we have a tight knit community where 5 or 6 people do join each week and talk to us and have that interactivity with us. And that just meant a lot to me because I always thought like when we did live streams, I thought it would just be me and Bob talking, and maybe there'd be a person or two joining. I didn't think we'd grow to this point where we have a consistent viewership each week we do a live stream. And that meant a lot to me specifically.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of the same thing. Like every single listener is important. And, all the feedback we got was important. But being able to see it every week, like actually visibly see it in front of our faces, was
Special.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
that was really cool.
Right. I don't know if either of our podcasts that we do separately will ever touch what we did here.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
This is seriously like the whole live stream. That's something that I will tell you. Like right now for side friction, at least in the beginning, there's not going to be live streams. There's going to be a lot of work. But that's one of the things that like is kind of killing me. Because it's like I miss the live streams. I'm going to miss them, and maybe sometime in the future we'll get it. Maybe then I'll have stuff on my wall.
it won't be such a boring platitude.
The Sour Patch has to remain now.
Oh yeah, he's gonna he'll go forward, even if you won't be able to see him on our new podcast, but he'll be there even if there's stuff on the wall. He'll be there somewhere. It might maybe move or something. I don't know.
And I also wanted to real quick make a remark. I would say this like I said, this podcast fostered my my enthusiasm for roller coasters and my knowledge of roller coasters. But not only that, but like Mega Coaster Review and then transitioning into Coaster Talk were really what made me an enthusiast. Like I was very preliminary in my coaster knowledge and coaster passion, and then I started this. I started Mega Coaster Review, and then I started Coaster Talk podcast subsequently, and that was really what built my enthusiasm. So like, there will never be a day where I say I'm just an enthusiast. I will always be there like that. There's like I'm always going to tell the backstory. Like I started a podcast, and that's what fostered. That's what married the two together for me. Because this has always been a passion of mine. Doing podcasting, radio. I love doing the video stuff. I love doing, when we did the video stuff. I love doing video. I love taking photos. I love doing all that. Creativity behind the show too, and that's linked with coasters has always been a passion. So it's kind of stuck because I feel like half of my passion is kind of being ripped from me now.
Yeah, it definitely fed into like the passion we already had. It fed into it more.
Right.
And yeah, I think that's a part of me. It's like, I mean, that's why
It was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to say I'm not just a coaster enthusiast, but I podcast about roller coasters.
Yeah.
I'm not
Just
just
think it's so much better than saying a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Oh God, or an influencer? God forbid.
Oh. Or a thuzy. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I just like it. There's been times where I've been like not paying attention to what's happening in the news and stuff, and the show, like forced me to be pulled back in. Like there's been times where I wouldn't really I'd kind of lose touch with the community and stuff, and like
podcast crews.
Oh man.
Sorry,
Timmy,
but that just cracked me up.
It's just that the show and like especially like with James and stuff, and I've always been pulled back in, and I think this show has been an integral part of that. And like me starting this career, like I don't know if this show didn't exist, I don't know if I'd still be so enthusiastic about roller coasters like I am now in the whole industry. It's not even like coaster enthusiast as much as I am just like industry fan. Like
Right.
Sure, I love roller coasters, but like it's to me now it's more than just
the
this roller coaster.
intricacies and the mechanisms behind.
Yeah, behind like
Yeah.
additions, like
Yeah.
I'm just as excited for a flat ride coaster now. So
Right.
I think the show has been a big part of like pulling me and keeping me involved in industry news, even when it's just been a huge part. I think.
You're kind of breaking up a little bit, Timmy.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right.
Sorry, so shut up.
Thank you, Windows 11.
No, I didn't mean to shut up. I meant talk more. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. Like I think like things that I've been learning. Like I look at my nephew, my niece to an extent, but my nephew is like so into coasters now, and like that's another thing. Like I think that if I wasn't on the podcast, not that he like really listens to the podcast or anything, but like that's all we talk about, and I always had new stuff to tell him. And it's like there's part of me that wonders like how would that have changed if it wasn't for me being a part of this.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I want everyone here that's listening to like please go support Side Friction in their endeavors and with what they're doing, because I kind of want that to be like the continuation of the show to some degree. Like I really hoping that you guys take off the ground really quickly, and it just like is super successful, even if it's just for you guys. I hope that you have a great time, and I hope it really I hope it fills this void that like we're gonna all have. I hope it really does good things for you, Bob.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know Steph does, and
I
like
I emphasize that as well.
yeah, and honestly, like I mean, truthfully, like there, we've definitely had our rough patches, but you guys mean the world to me. You really do. And I'm excited to see where you guys are going. Like it's really exciting to me to see you, Timmy, already, getting into the marketing and doing this, and James, I know is on that path, and like great things are going to come for you too. And like I'm proud of you guys. I really am. I really am proud of you guys.
That means a lot.
Yeah, if you see a King's Dominion blog post, just scroll to the bottom and see who wrote it. 'Cause pretty soon that'll be me on the bottom of it.
But
He'll
let
be
me
announcing
let me-
Volcano closed.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna
That'll
say.
be me.
Let me just say, if you do some kind of weird random park update post in the middle of winter, things might change, Timmy. Let's just say that.
Bob will be unfriending you on Discord. Whew. All right.
Yeah.
I will say too, I'm pissed that I feel like these templates I have for the live stream have been great, and I hate to see those
Yeah, I
fade
know.
out of existence too.
You know, there's just so
and,
much work we've put in.
I know. Overall, yeah, there's so much that I've done and you guys have done to cultivate the show. And I don't want to say it feels like it's going to waste because obviously, like I said, we had a successful run, but it does suck to see it kind of fade out now.
Yeah. But it's
all right.
better things ahead, right?
Hopefully.
Hope so too. And I honestly, I hope you guys get your horror podcast going too. I mean, not that I'll listen to it here and there, but let's be honest. I don't know what the hell you're going to be talking about. So.
Right. We'll do an Icon for Hire album, maybe.
Yeah. We'll talk about Miley Cyrus and Mothman for the episode.
Oh, yeah. Do an episode of Mothman Prophecies. I'm in on that. Actually, I'll be a guest.
There we go. That actually wouldn't be a bad one because it's kind of a niche
Yeah.
horror that I don't think gets enough recognition. So
Yeah, that's true. I'll be there. Just let me know when.
you never go wrong with Richard Gere. I really like Richard Gere. I'm just gonna say that. I don't know why I needed to feel the need to say that right now, but and Laura Linney is in that as well. That's like an underrated cast in that movie too. But all right, no, that aside,
We're stalling. We're
yeah,
stalling.
we're stalling here.
We are.
I
definitely
love you guys. You guys and the hosts, and you guys, the audience. Thank you for the best 5 years of my life so far. So on to bigger and better things, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll be a part of whatever the future brings us.
Right.
Yeah. Please buy King's Dominion Gold passes right now. If you want to support me, buy some King's Dominion Gold passes. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that doesn't help me at all.
Damn, I bought a platinum. I'm sorry.
Damn.
At least from King's Dominion, right?
Technically,
They'll
no,
funnel that to
actually,
us.
I bought it from Canada's Wonderland. Sorry.
All right. Well,
But that was long before I
in that
knew.
case, I'm
you
not
were-
listening to the podcast. Okay. I'll allow it this one time.
Next year, I'll be sure to go renew it from King's Dominion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Well,
All right, guys.
That does it for
guess-
this week's stream. Man, I really want to say I'll see you guys next week.
I know.
just pay attention to social.
Let's just say it. Let's just say it, and obviously we don't mean it, but.
And then somebody will tune in and be like, "Oh, okay."
Who cares? They can't, like you said, they can't yell at us anymore.
That's true.
Oh
All
man.
right, all right, guys. Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
everything.
Seriously.
Yeah.
This has been Coaster Talk Podcast.
Signing off. Bye, guys.
Bye.
everyone.